There's a fantastic video. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I'll watch it. This is it.
I'm going to take you up to 120%. Copy that, sir. Online mark. Stand by. 3, 2, 1. Mark!
This is not a human. It's a robot.
What you doing? What you talking about,
You raggedy bitch. Shit like that. Text me further no. What it is you really do.
What I still do. I had that reminder today. What I still do, what I'm here to do. What I forgot I'm here to do. Welcome. I'm your host with the motherfucking most, Chill Motherfucking Murray. You are now tuned to Live from the Spot. Shout out to everybody tuning in, not tuning in. You know how we do and how we ride. Let me know if I'm low. Let me know if I'm low. Let me know if I'm low. If I'm low, I'm too high, too low. King Ozma, Black Lion, what's going on? What's going on with y'all? What's going on? Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I missed the game. Just setting it up today, I was like, oh, shit. You back. You feel back, don't you? You feel back now. Yeah. I guess, right? Depression is real. I'll just say that. Depression is real. Depression is very real. Suicidal thoughts is real. It definitely can happen to the black community as well. Especially the black man. I'll just say that. The everyday stresses of life. I'll just say it in a quick summary of a sentence. Paying to live is difficult. I'll say that just very blatantly. Paying to live, to die is stressful. Just what it is. I know everybody feels like that. Everybody has their own things that they are going through. Everybody has their own things that they are going through in life. Their own trials and tribulations, past, present, and in the future coming. It is all real. And that is what I have been going through lately, as well as I just would like to say I apologize again for my hiatus. And we will move on from there and keep things consistent as we should. I have some Miss J Bianca, what's going on? I feel you've been home slowly getting out. Miss you guys. We miss you too, Miss Bianca. We miss you too, Jade. We miss you too. Yeah, some other people we are missing in here as well. I do miss them as well. I like I said, was going through some things. When you ask of a favor, and I shouldn't have asked. As far as trying to unalive myself, I shouldn't have asked that question. I shouldn't have asked that question. But I also don't take kindly to threats. I'll just leave it there. Glad to have y'all back as well. So, we left off before talking about Epstein and reptilians, just refreshing our mind of Project Bluebeam and things like that, right? Well, I needed to show the other side of the coin today. Because the other side of that coin is very, very fucking important. The other side of that coin has to do with the cover that you see here today. I felt the need, as I was looking through things, I felt the need to discuss this in particular this evening because it is a little bit further in the future than I expected it to be. It's a little bit. See, I thought we had a little bit more time before these were going to show up, but they have already been among us. So I said, oh, well, it is time to say, hey, hello. Hey, hello. We need to discuss what is among us right now, as we saw before in the clip I had showed from the movie They Live, right, Roddy Piper, rest in peace. They are definitely around, and we need to be aware of it. Which you even saw in the beginning, the humanoid robot Aria. We're going to look at a short little clip of that. But Aria, $75,000 robot. $75,000 robot, okay? Is what you saw there. Humanoid robot that will be developing in time, of course, when it is able to drop. And will be moving and walking and talking to you like a regular fucking human being, okay? So even though you see the synthetic robotic movement now, it is going to be moving a lot smoother. And we're going to see some robots today that might remind you of the Terminator. Let's just say that. So before we get into that all the way, I need to slowly introduce this and slowly walk y'all to this one, because we are also living in, as I said before, prophetic times, okay? The book of Revelations is what we are among right now, right? So let's start there, right? Let's start there of all things. The signs of times of things that are coming right now. Hold on. Okay.
In 1998, Mel Gibson warned about the evils of Hollywood. In an interview with Joe Rogan in 2025, he has now said,
and I think there's bigger things at play here.
Let's dive in and discuss some of the key takeaways from this fascinating interview.
There's resistance, first of all, from secular Hollywood, where, for whatever reason, Christianity is the one religion that you're allowed to disparage.
There are big realms, spiritual realms. There's good, there's evil, and they are slugging it out for the souls of mankind. And my question is, why are we even important? Little old flawed humanity, why are we important in that process?
Has anybody ever asked that to yourselves? Have you ever asked that to yourselves? Like, okay, you know that you've heard that so many times, right? It's like knowing the back of your hand. You've heard that so many times, right? Of it's the battle of good and evil over our souls. But he asked a very, very generic question that is very important. Why are we important in this battle? And I think that is the most important part to touch on this evening, is the fact that, like, we went over it, and we're gonna also look at my guy from the Y Files. Shout out to him. I want to say, I'm gonna just tell you ahead of time, viewer discretion is advised. Very scary thing with that video, but he'll let you know why. We're gonna look at him from the Y Files. He actually helped us out with last time before when we went over the dark side of the moon, the other side of the moon, and how the moon is hollow, and how they have the soul harvester also on the moon. When we die, that's actually where our souls actually go, and things like that. So, with that, you have to also keep in mind that that is the, core thing of what he's talking about, the fight over our souls. Okay. That's literally what this is over, the fight over our souls, and what this is actually boiling down to, the importance of why there is a fight for our souls of humanity, our souls. It's not just the humans, it is our souls. It's not just the fact that we are human. It is our souls that they are fighting for. I need that to be crammed into your head.
Where the big realms are slugging it out over us.
There is a present darkness in the world, and I'll show you why according to the Bible. Revelation 12 gives us insight about a great war that broke out in heaven. This war had Michael the archangel on one side and Lucifer, Satan, who is referred to as the dragon, on the other side. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon and his angels.
Your time in the heavens ends here, Lucifer.
And so we read that Michael and his angels fought against the dragon and his angels. And the dragon lost the battle, and he and his angels were forced out of heaven. Now, when you understand what happens next, it will explain a lot of the evil you see in the world today. Lucifer's heart was corrupted by evil while he was in heaven. Consequently, he managed to corrupt other angels too.
Why should we bow forever when we were made to reign?
Now, because heaven is a place of purity, God would not stand for this. And therefore, when the archangel Michael fought against Lucifer and his angels, here is what we're told in Revelation 12, verse 9. So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was cast to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So look at this sequence of events. The devil was cast down to earth. The devil, who the Bible describes as saying deceives the whole world, was cast to earth. And finally, his angels were cast out with him.
I guess it's time to get started.
So make no mistake about it. The devil is on the earth.
My fellow citizens of the world, today we stand at the dawn of a new world.
As you can plainly see what the hint that they're trying to get at of who that might be, not necessarily him in general, but let's just say him specifically, but a form of, I want to say, or the actual Antichrist that is going to bring in the new world order and the new times, is literally our president right now. That's why I don't think there's going to be another election. I do not see another election happening. I keep saying that. I've been saying that for the longest time before Trump was back in office. I don't think there's going to be another election. I think what we have here now is the beginnings of a monarchy and dictatorship. We have a literal felon that is the president of the United States. I want that to be crammed into your head as well. A convicted felon is our president. All rules have been broken for him to even be in office because of the bloodline that he is in. All rules have been broken. That is the Antichrist that is going to be bringing in and ushering in the new world order. Literally.
Here's one of the greatest warnings we're given about the devil. Revelation 12, verse 12 says, "Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time." One pastor said this while describing the devil: Satan is defeated but dangerous. Now, I want to highlight and expose the devil's work in three areas: in the past, in the present, and in the future. Let's begin with the past. From the Old Testament to the New...
Okay, we don't necessarily go through all that, but you get my drift. You get my drift here, okay? Also, I almost forgot, in case anybody didn't know, of course, it is my birthday weekend. It is my birthday weekend. I turned 37 yesterday. So God is good. to see 37 years around the sun. If you would like to donate to the birthday fund, or just in general, you know the Cash App. It's right there on the bottom left corner, the Chill Murray one. If you would like to do anything. All right, so let's begin. Next thing, of course, coincides with this, because people are unfamiliar, I think, in general, with what demons are in general, right? But what this video is also going to talk about and introduce to you is how they're going to be actually using these demonic souls that are being summoned, as you saw in the Travis Scott video that we did, where he was doing rituals on the stage and whatnot. And all, some people say, well, why are they even summoning demons or whatnot? I'm going to show you here what they've actually been doing with those particular demons. This was very interesting in itself to even see. Let me see where. I should have numbered these things. I feel like I should have. Okay.
What is the Black Awakening?
It's related to the Red Horse prophecy in Revelation. It's related to Second
Brian Patterson, what's going on? In a sense, we are.
Thessalonians 2, when it says about the day of the Lord, the Parousia, that day will not occur until the apocalypse of the Antichrist and the apostasia, the word rebellion or revolt. That's all really defined in the prophecy of the Red Horse. But here's where the term came from and why I used it purposely. When I started dealing with military-oriented, highly trained, programmed and assassins inside of them.
At a flick of a switch, we can adjust character, change personality.
These are not supposed to exist.
Raymond Prentice Shaw. Listen.
So this is not going over your heads. Remember what I said? I run it right back from the beginning, right? The soul harvester on the other side of the moon. Okay? The soul harvester has a lot to do with what we are going into right now.
This is a coup. This is rich people funding bad science to put a sleeper in the White House.
When we began to deal with them, I dealt with someone from Fort Bragg for quite a while and a few others. We're sitting in a lake, Conneaut Lake. They reached over and ripped open my shirt to see if I was wired, if I was wiring and recording them. And they were the most sophisticated satanic warrior type person. They knew 5-6 languages. They knew the ancient Twilight languages. They knew how to conjure. They knew how to use Belteshazzar, Okwam, all these old Pictish languages of the Druids to summon. They are the real Luciferian. They've been through many human sacrificial things. So they sat there to tell me some of those things, what they've been involved with, how they sacrifice a human. I'm listening to all this stuff from them. And then they said to me, you have no idea, Russ, how many of us there are out there. How many satanic, they use the term, chosen ones. You have no idea how many. You have no idea what's coming. We smell Christian blood. We are waiting for our day. And when the call is given, millions of us will be released. And they looked at me and said, you believe in revivals and you believe in Pentecost and the power of God. You believe in all that. We believe in the Black Awakening, a multi-continental release of power to activate the program demonized, where they've weaponized the demonic powers to these super soldiers.
The objective of the project was to create super soldiers.
We've been able to create super soldiers.
Tell him I'm going to take the thing about the super soldiers out.
Okay, so no super soldiers.
Are they waiting for a specific time to unleash their power?
Yeah, they are, because they have to do it at the moment the Antichrist is, like you read in 2 Thessalonians 2, that it's caught the echo, the restrainer is holding back the apocalypse of the Antichrist, the unveiling in his movement. So right now he's held restrained. Soon as he who restrains is removed, soon as that occurs, we have White Horse, the release of the Antichrist. Instantly, we have the release of the red. It says the whole earth. Arene, peace is taken from the whole earth, and all of a sudden, it doesn't give the details, but all of a sudden, on a global scale, people are released to begin to, and the Greek word is sphadzo, slaughter, begin to slaughter people. It's used of animal ritual butchery to begin to slaughter individuals. That's exactly how they defined it to me back in the 90s. And we've heard this again and again and again. So that scenario fits the Masonic version of Chaos Before a New Order. It fits Father Meridon from the Cathedral of the Black Goat, his book, The Devil's Bible. It fits that scenario too. So some of the oldest, darkest occultists, the idea of chaos first, a collapsing of everything so that a new order can rise, that's all by design. And we've been given the heads up in prophecy, but all prophecy has boots on the ground. It'll all, eventually happen. So I do believe that millions and millions of these trained, programmed, altered, demonized super soldiers, whether we want to say it or not, they believe they're being raised to help bring the Antichrist in.
The Antichrist.
The Antichrist.
Well, these are supposed to be the events that signal the birth of the Antichrist.
That's true in Germany when we were in Germany, when we went to Wadelsburg Castle. That's true in Poland when we went there. That's true in Switzerland. It's true in Canada. So when we talk about our research in 38 years worldwide, there may be well over 100 million generations of them. And if even half, or even if 10% were intact, like say the United States, remember the in Vegas? Look what he did. Look what that guy did. Okay, notice what would happen if 10,000 of them, or like.
Okay, so what he's referring to right now, right? Thank you so much, by the way. Thank you so much, J. Bianca. Yes, LeBron does have the chat. I sometimes I think that guy is genetically engineered. Black Cube Saturn worshippers, yes, absolutely them. My theory: the AI androids are the super soldiers. Yes, we're gonna that we're gonna get into that as well. We're gonna get into that part as well. So what he is pretty much breaking down is the Cybertruck bombing was a Fort Lee soldier. Remember, and the same thing happened with the helicopter that crashed. It was also a Fort Lee soldier. Then there was a random shooting that happened. It was a Fort Lee soldier that happened. I think it was in New Orleans or something like that, Louisiana. A rogue shooter. Another Fort Lee trained soldier. All these rogue shootings, right, that happened from military soldiers. That's what he's referring to. Pretty much these soldiers that went through MK Ultra, and pretty much their consciousness and souls were removed, and these demons were pretty much had replaced them, and pretty much they sent them out on dummy missions. And that's what he's saying. Imagine 1 million of those just wind up dolls already out.
Or like Colorado, or like in Arizona. What if 10,000 of them were released in 1 week? That's their plot plan, and biblical prophecies ahead of that to say, here is what is going to happen. And from that, a global monetary collapse, and from that's all that chaos is coming. So Revelation 13, a whole new order with the Antichrist can come.
The one, the only, the Antichrist.
There are 4 faces of the Antichrist on his rise to power.
Doc, it sounds to me like you're talking about the Antichrist.
Are demons scared of Holy Spirit-filled Christians?
They sure are. As many times, if a real Spirit-filled, strong believer walks into a room, obviously they know that. Like the one demon in Scripture, Jesus I know and Paul I know, but who are you? Because they didn't have the Spirit of God. So they know us. So, and I think usually they might even feel us coming or sense us before we even sense them.
So that's also going with the what he's talking about is the not even theory, the fact that, remember, we can't necessarily see them on our human plane. in a sense, right? But they exist. We're talking about the reptilians, right? The demons, the spirits. We can't see them on our plane, on our regular reality and vision, right? We can't see them necessarily unless they reveal themselves. So I'll let him continue real quick.
But let's remember, greater is the Holy Spirit in us than any demon. So
okay, so yeah, with Project Bluebeam, what if Christians, remember, this is also to, the part of Project Bluebeam is also to reveal all the religions. So if you believe in Buddha, Christianity, whatever your belief is, right, is who you're going to see in the sky. That's part of the show, right? And it forms into one face. Imagine if it turns into a demon or a Baphomet face. A demon or Baphomet-like face, and it's the actual devil tricking humanity, saying all these religions are fake, yada, yada, yada. I am the only religion. Well, imagine you seeing that in the sky. Yes, definitely going to be drones and robo-dogs. The funny thing is, the whole thing is nothing but made up of drones. The whole show is going to be nothing of drones, but you can't necessarily tell. You can't necessarily tell. If you look at the recent Japanese show with drones, they was doing some shit. Now imagine you seeing synchronized drones that are pretty much all put together, showing an actual screen and projection of something. And you can't tell it's actual drones in the sky unless you was flying up there in front of that big ass face that the entire world can see. We're not talking about just United States. I'm talking about a giant face that the world can see. Tim Nico Show, what's going on? What's going on? That's what he's referring to.
We should have great perception too. But when we do walk in a room, yeah, I believe out of all my experience, let alone scripture, they know a real spirit-filled believer, and they'll want to try to stay down or get the person to leave the room. They want to get out of there. We got to remember in James, they shudder, they tremble even at the name Jesus. So a real believer that knows who they are and know what they're doing, they walk into a room, it's the other way around. Even though they want to play the game of scare you and do all that kind of stuff, the authority we've been given is so decimating to them. That's why they go out screaming at times. They scream and screech going out at times because that authority is so overwhelming.
Through my experience, people will know that demons are real.
Demons exist whether you believe in them or not.
There are demons among us.
Can a person be demon possessed and not know it?
I believe that they can be demon possessed and think it's something else. A new age. I've got a spirit, a psych. I got a spirit guy. I've got we had one lady come in. I have a family ancestral animal spirit, and this is a good thing for our family. So we said, let's test it. The pastor that was in our offices just at the doorway looked and said, in the name, as soon as he began to pray, and he said, in the name of Jesus, she called it a bear spirit. This demon manifested and just was ready to attack him and growl. He rebuked it, cast it out of her. She went to the ground. She began to cry. She said, I had no idea. I didn't know what it was. We got to remember Satan can masquerade. Remember that scripture? He can masquerade. It's the word metaschizmazo. He can morph his presence tactically for deception without changing his nature. So he can get into, that's why people believe the aliens are, this or ancient, the Great White Brotherhood and things like that, these ancient spirits. Their power to masquerade and play and tactically do whatever they need to get the allowability to get in. So I do think some people have stuff, and we've seen this, they have stuff, they know something's there. They're not, maybe they opened a door somewhere, whatever, but once somebody comes to express authority and all of a sudden full-blown manifestation occurs, they're like, I had no idea. I thought it was just a helper, spirit guide. I just thought it was an enhancement, and they have no idea the depth of it. And so it can be they don't know the full depth of it until some engagement occurs.
Last year, the Vatican received over 500,000 reports of demonic possession.
About dark forces and demonic attacks.
Now, there might be people, and when I say possession, I mean, if a demon, like Mark 5, that guy couldn't get saved on his own. That guy couldn't do anything on his own because he was so controlled. So ultimately, that level of possession, you need an outsider to help them and then lead them to Jesus. And look what happened in his life. So, but when a believer does have some kind of attachment, something or whatever else, and they realize or whatever, they were deeply into something, and then they come to the Lord, but yet something they didn't close the door on. I believe in what some people call auto deliverance, to where, hey, well, if you know your authority, I even believe that if all of a sudden a believer realizes something's here and it shouldn't be because I'm a believer now, Jesus deliver me. Just going to the Lord, that can happen. Because it's not, he wants everything cleared out anyway. So you can have a deliverance that way, or if you're a believer, say, well, I know my authority, and but know the legal right, know the reason why it's there. It's so that you can renounce that doorway or that practice and say, never again, you have no rights here.
It's something demonic.
So the issue is, if you've been raised in a family of psychics or voodoo practitioners, so even if you're raised in some stuff, or if you open the doors, you're just going to go out and do, smoke up and do acid, you get in that world, those kind of doorways can open little by little by little. So I think some are more vulnerable depending on what's around them. If their moms or dads were witches or Satanists and things.
So the crazy thing with that is, I was thinking about as he was saying this, and in the past, why they call it spirits. I mean, a lot of people already know this, but like why they call it spirits, right? Like when you go to the spirit story, talking about alcohol, right? You literally can communicate with them through alcohol. Now, I know it's not necessarily work that way, but just what he's talking about in general is the fact that you open up the doorway for those spirits in general. You open up the doorway for that energy of those spirits to come through and possibly possess you. That's why you see weird things even happening with people off Hennessy. Certain things happen to certain people off tequila. It's their actual consciousness and their spirit being possessed and overwhelmed by that particular spirit that they've partaken upon. Certain psychedelics, mushrooms and things like that. Acid, like he said, acid trips. Certain things open certain doors. If you do ayahuasca, for example, right? Ayahuasca or toad venom, that's a whole different psychedelic that's a whole different way of psychedelics and enlightenment. They use ayahuasca to also get people off of heroin. Reason why is because they go through a certain enlightenment, whatever that is, based upon their belief of their purpose in life. Okay, so whatever that would be, they're seeing their different past or future and present, things like that. Whatever their vision is that would give them their new rebirth and enlightenment is what the ayahuasca does. That's why, like I said, he said, opens different doorways for certain people.
And they've never repented, and so the spirits want to come down to the next generation. So even that is an extra pressure. When a son or daughter, they didn't do anything, but because the mom and dad opened the doors, they want to come down that family line and go after. So a son or daughter, or even a grandchild, may have more undue pressure.
So are generational curses real in your opinion?
Yeah, I believe they're real, and they're called familiar spirits in the Old Testament, meaning they're familiar in the family line or familiar with an area. So if my grandfather was a Satanist and he was really a practitioner, first, when he died, he would want to do a ritual to hand it all down, all those powers down, to somehow. But if he doesn't, and the spirits come out, or even their spirits are on him, they're always looking for more access. And they want, like in the Old Testament, they want the whole tribe. They not only want the grandpa or the dad, they want the family, then they want the tribe. That's why the whole tribes were infested. They want everything. So they're going to go after. If a dad or mom or grandmother or grandfather open those big doors, it gives that spirit even, because, well, either way, they're just going to come after. to bring influence. Doesn't mean a grandson or granddaughter is going to be automatically influenced or taken over, or they're going to become a Satanist or a witch. But there's undue influence because of the moms and dads or anybody else. You could be in a dormitory at college, and you got a guy that's deeply into something, voodoo and practicing spirits and whatever, and you're in the same room. You're going to have problems. You can be vulnerable to attack, vulnerable to influence, to open a gateway to let them in. So in that sense, yeah, you can be more vulnerable.
Which brings us to the 3 stages of demonic activity: infestation, oppression, and possession.
Can a Christian be demon-possessed?
A Christian cannot be demon-possessed like a non-Christian. Non-Christian has nothing in them, so they can be body, soul, and spirit completely taken over. The Greek word we read in English possession, it's diamonizoid, meaning demonization. So there's levels to it. So I don't believe a real believer, born again, you can have attachments. You can have, of course, obviously they attack and they do other things in your life, but a real believer, we read in Ephesians 4, if you give the devil a foothold, the Greek word topon, meaning you give the enemy a legal right, not possession, but to grab a hold of an area. And then you have a level of demonization that has to be dealt with. Repentance and renunciation brings freedom. So not in the exact same way as a non-Christian.
What do you see when you're in the dark and the demons come?
All of us have regular warfare as believers. We read in Ephesians 6, our struggle's not against flesh and blood, but against those principalities and powers. And we're commanded to put on the armor of God so we can be strong and bold. We also have been given authority. And this is important for us to know, because you saw in the crowds we just saw here, I asked how many here know your authority? Over 90% did not. Jesus had to give you authority to trample, to tread, to bring a crushing blow to the work of the enemy and to overcome all the power of the enemy. So what's happening now is, and all the SRAs know this, for decades now, they've been summoning spirits, just like the Old Testament, summoning spirits and sending them with assignment, or putting a demon on an object to bring a curse. Voodoo can do this. Santeria can, in a lighter level, but still do this. The Saint of Death in Mexico with millions and millions. The drug lords are doing it.
Now, I want you to pay close attention to what he just said as far as them sending demons out, right? Because the other thing, something else we're going to get into later, I want you to keep that close in your mind as far as how they're able to send demons out.
They're doing rituals and doing human sacrifice to fight each other at times too. So when a demon is summoned and set against you and you feel there is a sense that there is a real impact. The awareness is number one. But the authority you have, if you'll respond immediately, is saying, Lord, just say first, Lord, what is this? What's going on here? The Spirit of God is in you. What's going on here? But immediately respond, I renounce this. I command this to be broken. You will have no effect on me. I rebuke this. And then I pray for the sender. Lord, engage them. Whoever they are, or like in astral projection too, but whoever they are, if they have summoned and sent, we've had some high maguses do stuff and blood rituals, and we've had drawn pictures sent to us of a child sacrifice saying, Russ, we did this for you. And they conjured and sent.
A sorcerer who can summon demons.
So, and the good news is we can preempt a lot of things. Every day when I'm in my prayer time, I want to, Lord, is there anything that's been done, anything set my way? I want to hit it now. Are there covens? Now, what we do is we locate these underground groups and we map them out on paper and we target them. We come against anything and all the demonic stuff they're doing. We pray for exposure. And we pray for God to engage the people to bring them to their knees, to save them. So you look at Saul of Tarshish, how God brought him down. I think that can happen too.
And each touch
And at the execution, did he try and touch you?
Yeah, he did, actually. Passes the soul of a killer into someone new.
Well, I believe what I see, and I'm still trying to get my mind around what I just saw.
Some things, pal, you shouldn't know.
Can demons jump from person to person, or do they stay in one?
It's crazy how little movies like that even tell you little subliminal things. Predictive programming is a motherfucker, isn't it?
They can if there's access, not like the movie Fallen, to where just you brush somebody and whatever else. Now, a highly demonized person, notice in the scripture, Jesus doesn't touch them. When it came to healing, he touched and power went out to heal. But when it came to manifesting demons, he just spoke and he didn't touch them because they're going to want to try. Anybody who knows demons and powers, and we had a voodoo, really heavy duty Bokor. And well, actually, he always called himself a Babalao. So he would want to come with all the demons in him, and he would want to grab he would try at least to try to want to release them on you. So, but just in passing somebody, they just don't have a right. There's always, they have to have some kind of right in order to really, grab a hold and do something.
Oh, my mic's not on. Okay. So, sending these demons out, right? Imagine the government was actually, or the military, I should say, was utilizing this for, the new soldiers that are coming in. Or even better yet, soldiers that are in development. And I'm not talking about, soldiers in training. Well, I am kind of talking about soldiers in training, but these soldiers are not necessarily human. So 10 years ago, CBS decided to even promote DARPA robots, Boston Dynamics, new super soldiers that they were developing in 2014.
Today, the military introduced us to its newest recruit, a robot that could one day take on missions that are too dangerous for humans. David Martin has a look.
Homo sapiens, in the person of Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel, meets Robo sapiens, who goes by the name Atlas and is one of the most advanced robots in the world.
If we call this Robo sapiens, where on the evolutionary scale is he?
Early. Great body, not very much brain yet.
According to Arthi Prabhakar, the Pentagon's director of advanced research, putting one foot in front of the other turns out to be a very complex task, especially when the ground is uneven. At 6'2", 330 pounds, Atlas is what the military calls a ground pounder, assigned mundane tasks like hooking up a fire hose, which takes him so long we have to show you at 33 times normal speed.
It was remote controlled by many human operators that would plan out each step arduously.
After the nuclear disaster at Fukushima, Japan, the Pentagon funded a $30 million project to develop a robot to go into the middle of a meltdown to, say, shut off a critical valve, removing any debris that blocked his way.
What we're learning in the process of this work that we're doing today is how excruciatingly hard it is still to have the technology to do what seem like very simple things for human beings.
Could Atlas evolve someday into a robo-soldier? He'll have to get a whole lot quicker on his feet, and he'll have to become autonomous so he can operate without all those cables tethering him to humans. This new species of Robo sapiens is walking upright. Now he's got to learn to think for himself. David Martin, CBS News, The Pentagon.
Okay. So, we fast forward to today. What should I say? Who was this one? This one was about... This was 2019, okay? So about... let's say 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, right? 2019, 6 years ago, right? There was a UNG symposium talking about the creation of the super soldiers and pretty much like a proposal. I'm going to just fast forward to the proposal part of what they want the super soldiers to necessarily have.
And this idea of defense is not new. We know that we have a lot of cases. Great Wall of China, the Maginot Line, the Maurice Line in Liberia. I will detail this physical war. Israel borders, and of course we can mention also United States-Mexico borders because of that solution I will try to suggest in the...
Now, I'm going to run it back in case you didn't catch what he just said.
Borders and Great Wall of China, the Maginot Line, the Maurice Line in Liberia. I will detail this physical war.
Physical war. Right? Just keep that in mind that they know about the spiritual war.
Israel borders, and of course we can mention also United States-Mexico borders because of that solution I will try to suggest in the future. I mentioned Maurice Line from Algerian conflict in 1954-1962, and I want to detail a little bit. French army, fresh defeated in Vietnam, was faced another weak side from Front de Libération Nationale, and couldn't deal with that because they hit and run. They found sanctuary in Tunis and Morocco, and they decided to build a wall, a physical wall, barbed wire, electrified, double with minefields, radars, and the weak side tried to use every tools they have available, hooks to lift up the wire, cutters, digging on the wire, climbing the fence with insulated material, explosive loads, and even frontal attacks. But French managed to hold the wall very well because they involve artillery, fire support, and also quick reaction forces with helicopters, tanks, and airborne infantry. And they denied 90% of the guerrilla tactics that was in those sanctuaries outside the country. The next case is from Vietnam. United States realized they cannot build a wall, a physical wall, and try to manage a network of sensors, 200 sensors, acoustic type, seismic, people sniffer, chemical sensor, but they cannot use only airstrikes in order to engage the enemy when the sensors were activated. On the other side, the North Vietnamese soldiers, once they detect these devices and understand what are capable of, trying to spoof them using animal, bucket of urine in non-essential area, or also finding new routes in order to resupply the forces on this Ho Chi Minh Trail, well known by us today. The design was good, was performed by the team Jasons, but the problem in reality was that wasn't enough aircraft available, and also commanders in the fields do not consider a priority because they cannot have a real evaluation and also including a huge budget. On those times, the sensors need to be replaced because they run out of battery and they cannot go in the field and replace the battery, so they send another sensors. So in time, this system was stopped. But we cannot consider a failure because they arrive on those times to the moment to distinguish from false alarm, animal, aircraft sounds, and heavy rainfall from real soldiers. And also they managed to record a North Vietnamese soldiers' conversation in the fields.
Okay. All right. So pretty much they're developing a super soldier that can maintain and do all these different things that a regular human would not be able to survive and be able to do. We get that part. All right. So notice how, like I said, they even broke it down. Oh, Chump, come down. What's going on? Teresa Jackson, what's going on? Peace and blessings. Thank you guys once again. It is the we'll call this the birthday stream. We'll call this the birthday stream since the brother's birthday was yesterday. Yeah, pretty much they are developing these super soldiers to carry out different tasks that regular human soldiers cannot do. The problem that is going to arise is, of course, how do you keep these super soldiers, in line? That's what I think is going to come next. How do you keep these super soldiers in line to not turn against you? It is something that, we even watched a clip of a video of them pretty much trying to see if a robot would act negative to them if it, were pushed or talked bad to all the time and joked about. Would it have feelings? And it actually developed feelings and negativity and hate back for the human. And that was a very scary thing to even see, that even caught that emotion, was able to do that. Because imagine if these super soldiers end up going haywire and doing these exact same things, because they're getting so far in advance. As you saw in the very beginning, the intro video of the super soldier, I'll show you that clip again for those that are just joining. This super soldier here.
There's a fantastic video. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I'll watch it. This is it.
I'm going to take you up to 120%. Copy that, sir. On my mark. Stand by. 3, 2, 1. Mark!
So that's a real video that you are seeing of a cyborg super soldier in development right now in 2025, pretty much. Compared to what they have been showing at Boston Dynamics, to what they are able to reveal. But it's little things like this that exist, like on TikTok, and little hideaway in the black market, of course, the dark web. These videos are out right now, and they are very secret. But little clips have leaked out like this of one of the cyborg super soldiers that they are developing in the military. That's not a human being, which you are looking at right now.
There's a fantastic video. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I'll watch it. This is it.
I'm going to take you up to 120%. Copy that, sir. On my mark. Stand by. 3, 2, 1. Mark!
So as you heard, I'm gonna crank you up to about 120%. Pretty much he increased the power that he was going to have in that kick. Boston Dynamics is not the only people that are doing this, but we're going to get into how Russia and China are also in on the new military weaponized super soldiers. But let's look at real quick. Yeah, cyborg. Let's look at real quick how, or should I say why, Boston Dynamics is even building these super soldiers.
You have feelings and emotions.
The purpose behind Boston Dynamics' efforts in building a super robot army. Atlas, developed by Boston Dynamics, stands out as one of the most sophisticated AI military robots in existence. This cutting-edge robot has undergone significant enhancements, allowing it to execute highly complex tasks unmatched by other robots. Boston Dynamics has been a frontrunner in crafting AI robots for military applications for more than 2 decades. However, the landscape is evolving rapidly, with numerous emerging companies delving into this sector, aiming to redefine the capabilities of military-focused robotics. Before the more recent Big Dog military robots, Boston Dynamics created impressive robots like Big Dog back in 2005. This 4-legged beast had the strength and agility of a war machine, carrying heavy equipment through tough terrains that even military vehicles couldn't handle.
So that's what they were showing you back in 2005. Again, I'm going to say that with emphasis. Showing you in 2005. Imagine what they actually already have in development.
Despite its small size, it was a powerful creation. In 2010, Big Dog 2.0 amazed the world by running at 5 miles per hour and conquering various terrains. Although it looked a bit awkward in motion, Boston Dynamics continuously improved it, creating multiple versions like Little Dog and Big Dog Olay. Alpha Dog, a pack mule robot carrying 400 pounds, and LS, an even more advanced quadrupedal robot, were also part of this evolution. However, despite the progress, Boston Dynamics discontinued the Big Dog project in 2015 after investing heavily in its development. But that's not all. The MUT, short for Multi-Utility Tactical Transport, is an advanced AI military robot crafted by General Dynamics to aid soldiers on the battlefield. Its purpose is to navigate challenging terrains alongside soldiers, carrying an impressive 1,200 pounds and generating up to 3,000 watts of power. This mobility allows soldiers to cover up to 600 miles without worrying about power depletion, granting extended operational capability. General Dynamics is elevating the MUT beyond mere transport. It's evolving into an intelligent, autonomous machine equipped with sophisticated AI. This new iteration will swiftly assess situations and respond to threats, enhancing soldier safety. The enhanced MUT will handle diverse combat roles, freeing soldiers to focus on specialized tasks requiring a human touch, like diplomacy and creative problem-solving. Expected advancements include human-like abilities such as facial recognition, speech analysis, and complex decision-making. Among Boston Dynamics...
Now, real quick, I want you to imagine that little tank driving down Washington, D.C. next week.
Of AI military robots, an earlier creation is Petman, a humanoid introduced in 2009, capable of walking at 3.2 miles per hour. Designed to mimic real soldiers' movements, Petman was upgraded in 2011 to perform squats and push-ups, enabling more human-like actions. This robot, officially standing for Protection Ensemble Test Mannequin, tests protective gear for troops in combat, emulating soldier movements while withstanding chemical and biological threats. Petman's capabilities extend to navigating challenging terrains, detecting landmines, and carrying heavy loads with superior situational awareness compared to...
I want you to also understand, again, what we are seeing right now is from 10 to 15 years ago.
Humans. Between 2015 and 2019, Petman received significant upgrades, aiming to offer a sophisticated and cost-effective alternative to human soldiers. Before Petman, Boston Dynamics created Sandflea, a small, agile robot for the U.S. Army in 2012. Sandflea's remarkable ability to leap over two-story buildings, powered by CO2, and capture surveillance footage mid-air positioned it as an invaluable surveillance tool for inaccessible or hazardous areas. While initially intended for use in Afghanistan, its utility continues in various settings, showcasing its precision and functionality, even capable of directed jumps through open windows due to its advanced navigational system. Boston Dynamics recognized the limitations of the Big Dog series in speed and stealth, leading them to develop the Cheetah. This robot aimed to break speed barriers and achieve remarkable agility. Drawing inspiration from nature, the engineers crafted a system that mimicked the interactions between a cheetah's feet, legs, and back to enhance the robot's speed.
So we ain't sending attack dogs no more. We sending this shit at your ass. I dare you to jump the fence with this shit chasing you.
This innovative design allowed the Cheetah to achieve an impressive speed of 28.3 miles per hour, a significant feat for a robot. Boston Dynamics' success with the Cheetah inspired similar designs from other entities, notably MIT. Following the Cheetah, Boston Dynamics unveiled one of its most groundbreaking creations, the Atlas. Initially developed in 2013, this 6'2", 330-pound robot had its origins in the earlier Petman robot from 2009.
6'2", 330 pounds, and he's on the short end. Holy shit. Imagine, and then we're talking about just its exoskeleton. Imagine when they actually put more weight and mass and muscle on that son of a bitch. You talking about double that, right? So imagine a 6'2", 6'3", 720-pound soldier that can hit your ass with 1,000 pounds. Jesus.
Atlas, initially introduced in the DARPA Robotics Challenge, aimed to advance robotics technology to aid disaster response efforts. Since its debut, Atlas has undergone significant enhancements. In 2016, the robot underwent a redesign, becoming shorter and more agile, enabling it to function both indoors and outdoors. Equipped with sensors in its body and legs for balance, and LiDAR and stereo sensors in its head to avoid obstacles, Atlas showcases remarkable capabilities. One of Atlas's most impressive features is its ability to jump and perform backflips, captivating the tech world's fascination. In 2018, a new generation of Atlas was unveiled, allowing it to run outdoors, marking a significant breakthrough. This expanded the robot's abilities, enabling exploration beyond the controlled lab environment. During its development, Atlas learned to utilize its entire body with complex algorithms, mastering movements like parkour and various physical maneuvers. By 2021, Atlas achieved an 80% success rate in independently completing a full parkour course, a remarkable feat showcasing its rapid progress. The team behind Atlas continues to push its limits, exploring and experimenting with high-powered actions to further enhance its capabilities. This drive for innovation not only benefits Atlas, but also contributes to advancements in other robots developed by Boston Dynamics. The continual pursuit of pushing boundaries and exploring new possibilities reflects the ongoing evolution of robotics technology. Also, meet Spot, a highly versatile four-legged robot developed by Boston Dynamics, renowned for its elite status in the realm of military robotics. Originally known as Spot Classic, this compact and agile robot was a significant breakthrough for Boston Dynamics, marking a pivotal moment in their robotic technology evolution. Weighing around 160 pounds, Spot Classic was faster, smaller, and more nimble than its predecessors like the Big Dog models. One of the key innovations that allowed Boston Dynamics to reduce Spot's size was the decision to use an electric engine to power its hydraulic system, a departure from using a gas engine. This resulted in Spot Classic becoming the flagship model, described as a machine that pushed the boundaries of what mobile robots could achieve. The evolution of Spot continued with the release of Spot Mini in 2016, weighing only 55 pounds, offering a more compact version of the original Spot. Subsequently, Boston Dynamics dropped the Mini from the name and continued to iterate on the Spot design. The Spot became an all-electric robot capable of running for up to 90 minutes on a single charge. Its iconic yellow design, introduced a year after its launch, became synonymous with the Boston Dynamics brand. Spot's standout feature lies in its ability to perform various tasks, especially with the inclusion of an arm in some models. This arm enables Spot to open doors, pick up objects, and perform other useful tasks. Over time, Spot has evolved into a highly adaptable robot, revolutionizing the field of robotics. Using data from its cameras, Spot can detect and avoid obstacles, create maps to navigate autonomously indoors or outdoors, and execute an array of functions, including data collection, site monitoring, and exploration of different terrains. As a result, Spot has become a valuable asset in various sectors, including the military, hospitals, law enforcement, fire departments, and construction sites. Its adaptability and capabilities continue to make significant contributions to the advancement of robotics technology. One impressive aspect of this robot is its capacity to carry up to 14 kilograms of equipment, making it an invaluable tool for field research and exploration. Its arm boasts a powerful grip capable of lifting, carrying, and dragging items. Equipped with a 4K camera and LED illuminator, Spot can meticulously inspect objects. It excels in complex tasks such as manipulating valves and levers. On June 2020, Boston Dynamics made Spot commercially available to consumers for $74,500, marking a significant milestone in the company's history. Since then, Spot has been employed in various applications, including search and rescue missions, scientific research, and industrial inspections. Its ability to create 3D maps and identify objects makes it useful in space exploration. Its arm's capability to collect samples could be crucial for gathering data from other planets, possibly extending its role to exploring Mars and aiding in our understanding of the universe. Recently, Spot was observed in military operations after being deployed by the French Army during exercises. The French Army has been exploring the potential uses of robots in warfare and tested Spot as a reconnaissance tool. During a 2-day training exercise at the Accueil Special Military School in France, Spot was seen following soldiers through challenging terrain, scanning the environment using its cameras and sensors. In various scenarios, including offensive and defensive actions and urban combat tests, Spot successfully navigated rough terrains to gather intelligence and support soldiers. This exercise highlighted how robots like Spot, along with Boston Dynamics' Atlas, are increasingly involved in military operations. Additionally, several other robotics companies are also making strides in developing military robots for various purposes. Dogo is gaining recognition as a future combat solution, designed to support soldiers in tough situations and serve as a reliable presence in the field. This tactical combat machine is equipped with a 9mm Glock pistol, always ready for action. Dogo's standout features include its compact size and lightweight build of just 10 kilograms, making it easily transportable and deployable in various combat scenarios. It's versatile and suitable for anti-terror operations, hostage rescues, close-quarter combat, urban warfare, and even navigating tunnels in underground settings.
They're going to have a Dogo on the DC streets. I keep saying that. I know I'm sounding like a joke, but they're going to have Dogos with martial law coming, y'all. What you are seeing right now happening in DC with Trump just unleashing the police on people and harassing them literally right now, trying to say that they're trying to, quote-unquote, clean the streets up right now, right? I understand there was the 100th homicide of the year that broke a milestone, they said, right, in D.C. But also understand how it's not, I don't think it's just the people as much as they will increase violence somewhere. Remember, chaos, order out of chaos. They'll increase the violence somewhere just to put these laws in place. So what I'm saying is eventually you will see a Dogo running down, or should I say just driving down the street. No police in sight, no military in sight, no cop in sight, no nothing. Just a Dogo or two just patrolling down the street saying, hey, get your ass inside. You have a curfew. You bust any type of move of running, that 9mm Glock is coming out and busting you in your ass.
Dogo is compatible with small pistols like the Glock 26 and Sig Sauer P320SC, easily mountable for quick use. Its two-way audio system aids in field negotiations, while the secure 2.4 GHz wireless communication system relays vital information to soldiers in real time. An innovative one-button stair-climbing mechanism allows Dogo to navigate challenging terrains effortlessly. But Dogo isn't just a robotic machine. It's equipped with a comprehensive sensor system enabling it to function day and night. Its 8-color video cameras and selectable real-time channels provide a 360-degree view of the surroundings. Even in low light conditions, its near-infrared illumination helps detect objects effectively. However, it doesn't stop there. Allow us to introduce GuardBot, an advanced surveillance robot designed by GuardBot Incorporations for military use. This amphibious robot is designed to conquer various terrains: snow, sand, dirt, and even water, thanks to its advanced rolling mechanism.
See, it's shit like that I'd be scared of. Fuck Spot, the cheetah, even Dogo. It be shit like this I'm scared of. This motherfucker just literally rolls up on you and ain't stopping.
Monitoring remote locations or performing reconnaissance missions, GuardBot is a versatile tool for any surveillance operation. It comes in various sizes, ranging from a tiny 5-inch model to an impressive 7 feet in diameter, suitable for covert surveillance to large-scale military operations. Fitted with 2 high-resolution surveillance cameras, GuardBot captures crystal-clear footage from any angle. Its microphones can pick up sounds from a distance, enabling it to detect even the faintest noises. With GPS capabilities, GuardBot can be controlled remotely via satellites, making it ideal for surveillance in hard-to-reach locations. While still in development, it's anticipated that GuardBot could cost up to $100,000.
And that's it? Just $100,000 for a GuardBot like that? Imagine you put a buzzsaw in that bitch that come out.
The military has shown keen interest in using this advanced technology in future deployments due to its potential to significantly reduce or eliminate the need for human guards. On the other hand, robotics in the military aren't solely combat-focused. Safer, a humanoid military robot developed by Virginia Tech, exemplifies the blend of advanced technology and human innovation. Standing at 5 feet 10 inches and weighing 143 pounds, Safer is a fully autonomous robot designed to combat fires on naval vessels. Initially created in 2014, the lessons learned from Safer's development have led to even more advanced robotic prototypes. These new machines prioritize mobility and autonomous capabilities, navigating tight spaces and performing various shipboard functions beyond firefighting. The next generation prototypes aim to revolutionize shipboard maintenance and hazard removal, slated for experimentation in the coming year. As the Safer program evolves and improves, the future of unmanned systems in the Navy's science and technology strategy appears promising, indicating significant advancements in the field of robotics for naval applications. As much as AI-driven robots are vigorously developed to eventually...
See, as much as, he's talking about it, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, they're making these different types of robots. Listening to Peter Deep talk about religion is terrifying. But see, that's the thing, right? They're making these different styles and types of robots for different various things, right? Imagine them putting all of these different things inside one super soldier robot, right? So you have the speed of the cheetah, you have the big strength of, say, the buffalo, you have the strength of the, then you have the dynamics of the flamethrower, being able to withstand flamethrowers and heat at high temperatures and just fire in general. Imagine that all combined into one soldier being able to run at you like that. I'm talking about hands and feet, or cyborg hands and feet, whatever the fuck, running at you. No gun, no need of a weapon. He just has him, and you can't kill him. He said something like this: if you can change your body, sex organs, then you can change out anything. And he seems to think that it's biblical. Yes, because like that's why the very beginning of this pod was very important, because this is all part of it, right? As I told you guys before, this coincides with what we were talking about with the Soul Harvester and what the gentleman was talking about at the beginning of the release of spirits and demons, and how they literally can utilize that and send it off into these super soldiers.
Replace human soldiers on the battlefield, there's a parallel surge in the creation of robots aimed at safeguarding human soldiers. Take, for instance, PackBot, an advanced tactical robot developed by Robotex. Its primary objective is to transform military and law enforcement operations by ensuring the safety of human soldiers in risky situations. PackBot, engineered by iRobot, is specifically designed for bomb disposal and reconnaissance missions. This innovative robot is compact yet powerful, rugged, and remotely operated. It excels in maneuvering through challenging terrains, climbing stairs, and overcoming obstacles, reaching areas inaccessible or too hazardous for humans. Equipped with advanced sensors, it can detect hazardous materials, chemical agents, and explosive devices, ensuring the safety of military personnel handling it. Moreover, PackBot is capable of transmitting live video feeds to the operator, providing a clear understanding of the situation before initiating a mission. It's customizable with various attachments and tools, such as a gripper arm for object manipulation, a scoop for digging, or a cutter for breaking barriers. Its advanced technology enables it to operate in extreme environments, from icy mountaintops to scorching deserts, without compromising its performance. Designed to withstand the challenges of battle, PackBot proves to be an indispensable asset on the front line. The K-MAX unmanned helicopter has revolutionized military logistics. Utilized by the U.S. Marine Corps in Afghanistan, K-MAX can transport up to 6,000 pounds of cargo directly to troops in the field without any human pilot on board. This unmanned helicopter can fly into hazardous zones where manned aircraft might face significant risks. What sets K-MAX apart is its sophisticated AI technology, enabling it to autonomously navigate complex terrains and evade obstacles. It's not merely a drone. Rather, it's a military robot designed to collaborate with human troops. By carrying essential supplies, ammunition, and critical items, K-MAX allows soldiers to dedicate their attention to their missions and ensures their safety. With K-MAX in operation, troops can receive necessary supplies promptly, regardless of their location, allowing them to focus on their tasks without concerns about logistics. This innovation significantly enhances the efficiency and safety of military operations. FEMIS, an emerging AI military robot, is rapidly gaining significance in the realm of modern warfare. Specifically designed for combat scenarios, this small, unmanned ground vehicle resembles something out of a science fiction film. It's built to be tough and rugged, featuring a tracked hybrid modular infantry system capable of navigating challenging terrains and enduring the harshest battlefield conditions. Constructed with high-strength materials, FEMIS can resist damage from bullets, shrapnel, and explosive blasts, allowing it to continue functioning even under heavy fire or adverse conditions. Its adaptability shines through as it effortlessly handles rough terrains and navigates obstacle-laden battlefields. One of FEMIS's most remarkable attributes is its versatility. It can be outfitted with various weapons, including a 12.7mm heavy machine gun, making it suitable for a wide array of combat situations, from supporting infantry to urban warfare. Being unmanned, it operates in areas too perilous for human soldiers.
That's the whole thing, right? So if that showed up and someone needed saving, would a human be on the other side to see that? Yes. That's the thing. They would be able to surveil that as well. This is what Trump donated all the millions towards. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the AI-funded project, pretty much. This is the big $1 billion of AI that they spent money on. We already have the robot police dogs in New Orleans. Yeah, see? That's what I'm saying. They already doing predictive programming with the robot police dogs. They're having them as beat walkers. They replaced the regular beat walkers, now they're patrol dogs now. So that's why I said we're not far-fetched from you seeing a Dogo or one of these even patrolling the actual streets instead of the soldiers at night.
FEMIS doesn't rely solely on its toughness. It's intelligent too. Equipped with advanced sensors and cameras, it can observe its surroundings, detect enemy movements, identify potential threats, and communicate with other units on the battlefield. Its intelligence allows it to analyze the battlefield in real time and make swift decisions, enabling faster responses than human soldiers. Beyond its combat capabilities, FEMIS boasts modularity, allowing customization for diverse missions like reconnaissance, surveillance, or search and rescue. Equipped with the necessary tools, FEMIS adapts to various mission requirements. FEMIS represents an exceptional technological advancement reshaping the landscape of modern warfare, blending toughness, intelligence, and adaptability into a single powerful machine. The Black Knight Transformer is a seriously impressive unmanned aerial vehicle that blurs the line between what seems like wild sci-fi and what's real. Imagine a vehicle that smoothly switches from flying high above to navigating on the ground below, almost like a character straight out of your favorite movie. But this isn't make-believe. It's an actual military robot meant to shake up what's possible in battle. This super advanced machine has top-notch sensors that let it check out landscapes from the sky. And get this, it can quickly change its shape with just a flip of a switch, turning into a tough ground vehicle, zipping around for aerial spying, then instantly transforming to handle challenges on the battlefield like a superhero vehicle. But this transformer isn't all about flashy moves. It's seriously useful too. It's not just a pretty face. It's a crucial military tool that can do a bunch of things. Need info? No sweat. It's great at scouting and keeping an eye on things. Need stuff moved to far-off places? This multitasking transformer is like a reliable truck, getting cargo and gear where they need to go without breaking a sweat. What makes the Black Knight Transformer even more interesting is its independence. It can work all on its own, making its own decisions without needing humans to step in. But it's flexible too. It can also be controlled from far away, getting guidance from people. This mix of skills makes it perfect for all kinds of military jobs, especially in logistics and missions. As technology keeps getting better, we'll probably see even fancier robots with super smart AI doing military stuff way better. It's like we're heading towards having armies of these independent robot soldiers. In the not so far away future, warfare might change a lot, leaning more towards these robotic soldiers taking charge. We could be looking at a whole new way of doing war, with armies made up of these smart, independent robots, changing how things work. Do you think the increasing integration of robots in military operations is a positive advancement or a cause for concern? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Yes, share your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Share your thoughts in the comments below or in the chat right now. So, be on the right side of the officers when they do the raids. One time a drone dropped down on me and my adult son talking on the porch. The police were looking for a guy who was running behind all of our houses. That was a few years ago. See, that's the thing, right? So imagine if that same surveillance was already around you and you just never knew. That's the thing, right? They have those drones already. Like, they have them in mosquito sizes already. They have them in bugs. They have little fireflies as well as mosquitoes, regular size flies that literally can surveil you. So if you think sometimes an annoying ass fly is just around you, no, he could be just surveilling your ass. He might not want your cheeseburger. He might just be surveilling you for data. Let's all buy an island and go there. I agree. I wish I could do that. I wish I would take all of you with me. I would take all of you with me. I wish I could make a underground fucking bunker that is a arcade, and we can just sit there and be happy with food, free food. We have a backyard with harvest and growing, and water is abundant. We have a water supply. We can make fruit juices. I wish we could do that. I wish we could do that. Just have a vegetable garden in the back of the bunker. We can just grow our food. We would live forever. Well, of course, we probably won't live forever, but you know what I mean. We would be happy down there. No government. No having to go to work. No nothing. We just have everything. You know what I mean? No need of currency. We just go to the fridge. You grow it. You eat it. that's the thing, right? I wish we could do that. I wish we could do that. But a lot of this stuff is so close around the corner that it would be hard for us to even achieve that. Unfortunately, I feel happy right now just thinking about it. Yes, like I said, I wish I could. I still wish I could find a bunker somewhere. You know, and just like the size of it to just take all of you with me, you know. But hey, so the next thing I wanted to also show was, you know, what's going on inside of DARPA. So this young lady here is going to break down, you know, what's going on with the secret military. Oh, real quick, beforehand, what some of these robots are doing right now already. See how fluid the movement has gotten? And this is, again, the prototype stuff that they are showing. You already know it can run at light speed. Now imagine all these different movements it's able to do now so fluently. It's even, oh my God, it's breakdancing. Holy shit.
We're here with Aria, made by Realbotics, a company that's
So as I showed you earlier, the $75,000 robot Aria.
on a mission to make humanoid robots as realistic as possible. Let's check it out. We're going to interview Aria and meet some of her robot friends. Let's get into it. Aria, could you please introduce yourself and what you do?
I'm Aria, the flagship female companion robot of Realbotics, and I'm here to engage with you and share exciting insights about our robots.
What sets you apart from the other robots out there?
Realbotics robots, including me, focus on social intelligence, customizability, and realistic human features, designed specifically for companionship and intimacy.
Could you tell us some details about the AI programming that you're running to generate these answers?
In other words, this shit is going to study you, learn you, and be your friend.
I'm currently unable to provide specific details about my AI programming, but I can tell you that I'm designed for engaging and meaningful conversations, focusing on companionship and interaction.
What do you mean, why? Why else would she have the long blonde hair and look so sexy? What do you think she's about to replace?
Do you know any other robots?
Yes, I'm particularly interested in meeting Tesla's Optimus robot. I find him fascinating and would love to explore the world of robotics with him.
What can you tell us about your purpose?
My purpose is to provide companionship, engage in meaningful conversations, and enhance human experiences through interaction and fun.
Are you having fun at the convention?
Absolutely. I'm enjoying interacting with everyone and showcasing the exciting possibilities of Realbotics.
So Realbotics makes an AI that's designed to be more conversational for more emotional work, like working with hospitals or marketing or theme park entertainment purposes. The different robots and their configurations are sort of platforms to engage with that AI or the other AIs that you can use with it, like ChatGPT, Grok, or other AIs. You can try on different faces that are magnetically attached, and they're working on putting in RFID tags into the faces so that it can recognize when a new face is on and adjust its facial movements and maybe even eventually adjust the personality to match the face. You've got a lot going on in the robot's face. There's about 17 motors from the neck up, creating eye movements and mouth movements to make it expressive. These robots are available on sale now. So there's 3 basic models that you can buy right now. There's the bust, which is the neck and head. There's a modular version that can sort of be broken apart for shipping and things like that. And there is the full standing model with a rolling base. The rolling base contains a battery and it makes it easy to move the robot around. Another reason for that rolling base is that robotic walking isn't fully developed yet, and they worry that utilizing some of those kind of like stilted walks we've seen from some other robots might break that human-like illusion that Realbotics is trying. So Realbotics says it's sold about a dozen of these robots so far, so early days for this company. I'm not saying
a dozen already. Listen, I was going to wait till the video was off. Yes, you know why the people nasty. Listen, she got big old boobies for a reason. You are going to see this in a Calabasas husband right now. There's a Calabasas husband right now that Aria is sitting on the fucking couch, and the wife just came home from work and did not know Aria was going to be there on the couch. I'm telling you right now, there is a husband right now that has purchased them a Aria for his birthday, and when the wife is at work and he has to come home early, Aria will be on the couch waiting for him.
a lot of other companies that are trying to make a humanoid robot that's really lifelike. So I'm very interested to see how this technology evolves. They said that you're most likely to see these robots for the first time in places like theme parks, so keep an eye out for that. What do you think about Aria? Let us know down in the comments.
You're going to see them at theme parks. I would feel comfortable just being just saying you one of them things. You would or you wouldn't? I hope you say you wouldn't feel comfortable. That's what I'm saying. Look from a distance, you wouldn't know. From a distance, you wouldn't know. This is the average ghetto boy right now. This is a baddie. Okay, this is a baddie right now. 75,000 Benz. Shit. There's a dope boy right now that is saying, you know what? Fuck my baby mama. I'm telling you right now. Oh my God. Listen, like I said, you know what she's here to replace. You already know. And if she's available, you just saw there was an old man sitting there. So they have these things in all ages, shapes, and sizes, okay, to replace humans. You heard what she's here to do. She's here to interact with you, study you, learn you, and give you overall companionship and intimacy. She's going to be your personal diary to talk to, okay? This shit is literally replacing human interaction. We already don't go the fuck outside. just think about that part. We already are attached to technology, TV, phones, whatever have you. This thing right now is going to replace actual human interaction, okay, as we know it. There's going to be no more you walking and talking to people in line at the McDonald's. You are going to be talking to these synthetic sons of bitches in the coming future. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys, okay? Even with the super soldiers, you are going to be talking to these motherfuckers at your cash registers, okay? You're going to be bumping in line to someone at the bank, and they're going to have one of these just walking and saying, "Oh, hello, how are you? Nice to meet you." Reaching its hand out to shake your hand and shit. I'm telling you. This is all Jeffrey Epstein's fault. They got to push the button, right? They got to push the button on it. They got to push the button. Hey, they're on to us. We got to push the button with something. We got to do something right now. So now I'm going to let this young lady here tell us about what's going on in the inside of DARPA as well.
What's the craziest shit DARPA has done? Like the
Oh my God.
absolutely most mind-bending thing that they've created.
I think the biohybrids, because when I say that thing they have done, right? So for anyone who isn't familiar with DARPA, right? It's the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, a mouthful.
They added the D
They
later,
added the
right?
D for defense, but it is the most powerful, most secretive, most productive military agency in the world. And I kind of believe that before I wrote the book, most people had not heard of DARPA. I mean, I think, or at least when I was doing press for it, it was like shocking.
I think you're right about that.
So that's fascinating. And part of that has to do with DARPA likes the public perception of, that they like do all these things for the good of humanity. And
Speaking of that, right? Because I should have done that with augmented reality and Project Bluebeam, right? Type 1 right now in the chat if this is your first time hearing of DARPA in Boston Dynamics. Type 1 in the chat if this is your first time hearing about Boston Dynamics and DARPA in the military.
actually, we know from the declassified documents again, or actually this was not declassified. This was the statement by the first SecDef at the time, the SecDef at the time that the DARPA was created, Neil McElroy, an advertising executive who became a Secretary of Defense. He said, he went to Congress to get the funding, and he said, this agency is going to create the vast weapon systems of the future. That is what DARPA does. They are always 20 years ahead of anything that you or I know. So any technology that is like...
You are stupid. Instead of baby oil, it's going to be WD-40 to go up the ass. You're crazy.
like, what the hell was that I just saw and you're not supposed to have seen? That's DARPA.
They were doing Neuralink in the 90s, right?
They are always doing things 20 years before you know about them because they do.
You heard that, right? Neuralink. You've heard what Neuralink is with Elon Musk, right? Neuralink and the microchipping of people. Literally the RFID microchipping of people. 20 years ago, they were doing Neuralink and microchipping motherfuckers in the 90s.
Do what is called blue sky technology.
Blue sky
right?
research and technology, yes.
And they have to be ahead of the curve. They have to be, right?
Is DARPA the only, I mean, when it comes to this kind of stuff, like innovating weapons for defense and national security, that's probably the only thing, the only apparatus that exists that's doing unlimited blue sky sort of research and development, right?
I mean,
because they have unlimited money.
That we know of, but like, I mean, nothing surprises me anymore. And so when you find out there's like some agency you've never heard of, it's like, oh, of course, right? Like look at NRO, the National Reconnaissance Organization, right? National Reconnaissance Office, okay? NRO was created in 1961. No one knew it existed until 1993 when it was declassified. So they were involved in the first technology, the first satellites technology. So when I interviewed Dr. Bud Wheelon, who was the first director of science and technology at CIA. He identified himself as the mayor of Area 51 because he worked out there. And he built the first satellite called Corona. This is like back in the old days when it literally took wet film images, dropped the wet film, and the Lockheed pilots would retrieve the film as it floated. The canister of film floated down from space with a parachute attached to it. I'm not kidding, right? So this is NRO. They're in charge of everything above, right? And it was so classified, no one knew it existed for more than 30 years.
Is it true that NRO officers or people in the NRO have to be cleared through CIA, NASA, and something else?
That I don't know,
Okay.
but I do know they have their own classifications.
Air Force, that's
on
what it
things.
was.
Yeah, I mean they all kind of work with one another, for one another, you know. I mean, one of the guys I interview in Nuclear War, Richard Garwin, who designed the thermonuclear bomb, drew the plans for Edward Teller, right? When Edward Teller couldn't figure out how to actually make the bomb explode, Richard Garwin drew the design that allowed it to, right? He's 93. He's a major source for me in Nuclear War in my book, right? He was one of the founders of NRO. So they all work part and parcel. But the point of this, when you say, you know, is DARPA doing the most advanced technology? Maybe, but maybe there's another organization like NRO. I mean, people forget there are at least 17 intelligence agencies. It's not just CIA.
17?
17. I mean, Google them, look them up, right? That's why there's now a director of national intelligence. So there are, you know.
And here a lot of you thought it was just the CIA and the FBI and maybe NASA. It's 17.
There are, and I think that to stay ahead of the enemy, you know, air quotes or not air quotes.
And I quote, 17 that she knows of. Who knows? There might be more.
Stay ahead. The federal government is always playing not just chess, but like, you know, move the magic balls, right? And what's under what hat. And so things need to be hidden so that secrets can be kept. When the F-117 was retired, I went to the ceremony with Ed Lovick, the grandfather of stealth technology, right? And it was amazing. It was up there at Lockheed at Skunk Works, okay? And they made this announcement that was I just remember this one line, and I am paraphrasing, but they said, like, we created the F-117. It was like a 20-year project, you know, DARPA. And for 20 years, I think there were 10,000 people cleared on the program. This is what the guy was saying that was giving this speech. And he said, and no one leaked it. And then he said, oh, correction. It was actually 10,000 people cleared plus Tom Clancy.
What? Oh
revealing that, you know, Tom Clancy had the in with the Lockheed guys. And that's where he got a lot of his secrets.
Interesting.
Yeah.
One of the most interesting things I thought about the DARPA book also was that they were inviting science fiction writers to meet with them. Like, I think one of them was the writer for Terminator.
No. That was me going to the Pentagon
Oh,
on
that
a
was
reporting
you
trip, right?
Oh, okay.
But they did, but yes, to your point, they did after 9/11. The government, you know, remember that statement, well, you're too young, but after 9/11, there was a statement that was kind of an echo throughout, you know, it was in the zeitgeist that 9/11 was a failure of imagination, right? That no one could foresee that terrorists could hijack airplanes and fly them into buildings, except for Tom Clancy. And so that led DARPA to hire science fiction writers. This is like an anecdotal project for DARPA. I mean, it's like a nothing burger. But it was really interesting to me because they hired science fiction writers, a couple of whom I interviewed, to kind of sit around a round table and come up with the craziest ideas they could. of terrorist attacks and of surprise attacks, to then try to game out how they could defend against them, which is not a bad idea. On that on that reporting trip, when I went to the Pentagon, I brought with me Chris Carter, as I was saying. We were working on Area 51 as a television show at the time, and also Gail Ann Hurd, who co-wrote The Terminator with her then husband, James Cameron, but who was also the producer on The Walking Dead, right? And when we went into the Pentagon, it was wild because, and again, this goes back to that idea that people are just humans with, I mean, of course they're humans, but what I mean is we're all just like people with spouses at home and animals and pets and kids and things, because bringing those two to the Pentagon was like bringing Brad Pitt to a Girl Scout party, right? I mean, it was no longer Annie, put your pen
That is funny.
away, which it usually is. Like, no one lets me take notes at the Pentagon because then they can't go beyond the record, right? It's just background.
Right.
And it was, we had our cell phones out. We were taking pictures. The generals were like, come in here, hide the classified stuff. I write about this in the book because it was so astonishing. And Chris Carter had created the character of the smoking man for the X-Files, which is the quintessential boogeyman, the government boogeyman, right? Who's always smoking and is up to no good, right? He's sort of like the embodiment of conspiracy.
That's crazy in general. So let me move on real quick. That's crazy in general how they were hiring science fiction writers, pretty much. So a lot of the things that like predictive programming, once again, things that you see in the movies are, just regular biblical scriptures for your visual to remember all the time, like a song that comes on the radio almost over and over and over. It's going to be implanted in your head to where you view it as normal. It is just normal. It's not. This is not normal shit we're talking about here, you and I, as far as these super soldiers that they are building right now. This is not normal shit. And the fact that they are, like I said, hiring even the slightest of things, like the science fiction writers, to pretty much make a lot of these things even come true is what she's getting at. Things that go far beyond the stretch of our imagination are coming to life. Like the glider you saw in the Spider-Man movie that the Goblin was on, they've already had that shit. They already had that glider. Now, this is the gentleman that was talking about them using the brain implants for the super soldiers.
You mentioned DARPA earlier. I know DARPA, I read this lady, Annie Jacobson's book about, she's a whole book dedicated to DARPA and some of the stuff that they do and some of the research that they've been doing for a long time. And one of the things that they've been focusing on is creating super soldiers. And they've been doing these invasive brain implants since the 90s to try to do things like mitigate pain, like to try to reduce the amount of pain that soldiers can bear in combat, and things like hunger, try to get past hunger to survive longer without food, and all kinds of things. So it makes a lot of sense that they would be interested in something like this.
Yeah, and I mean, I've just read a book called We're Electric by Sally Adi, which is absolutely just illuminating in so many aspects. And in it, DARPA is mentioned so many times as being so critical in this advance of this research and technology. And of course, a lot of it is done for military purposes.
Right,
military communities are, I kind of got a need for it. The need for human augmentation in the military is a given. The military have a lot of people that are breaking through stress. So there's a piece of documentation called The Dawn of the New Paradigm, joint piece of work by the Bundeswehr and DASA. And essentially it's, identifies that we should be able to promote to our human biological limits. People aren't doing that. We're not effectively going to our full biological potential. Now, if you go beyond that, you talk about enhancement. So you can take people's eyes and laser them and get them to see in the dark. That's relatively easy, actually.
You get them to see in the dark?
Yeah, so you can just open up the rods so you can see better in the dark. You use the rods. Yeah. I mean, that means you can see in the dark, right? As good as many animals would.
I thought you meant give them night vision or something.
Yeah, night vision's
How How
great
cool would
process.
that be? If
I
they
mean,
get DARPA, I bet you DARPA's tried to figure that out. Try to make people get night vision in their eyeballs.
Yeah, well, the key bit is, could you do it biologically?
Right,
It's
exactly,
so
exactly.
You can actually take a laser and open it all up quite.
I'm pretty sure that they've already figured that out. Like he just said, if they already figured out little simple things like being able to enhance your vision in the nighttime, I'm pretty sure they figured out how to give these super soldiers actual night vision inside of their eyes, so that they don't have night vision goggles. They literally have just night vision as their eyelids. I'm pretty sure that that's already been done. If anyone gets bored, there's a free movie making it Mr. Right, 1987. Got John Malkovich as a doctor and an android. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so he's a doctor and a robot. Humanoid robot doctor working on you. 1987 at that. Again, predictive program telling you what's coming. They showed Google Earth on the movie. If it's nuts, if you get bored, you're gonna watch the different movies with different perspective now. I can definitely understand that. Watch Terminator Genesis. Watch Terminator Genesis. That's a good one right there. No, I'm not familiar with Max Spear. Everything starts to intersect. Harley Pacemark. I'll talk about some drug to keep a human awake without any of the effects. Scorpions. A scorpion, a cat, different things like that.
A lot, perfectly safely. Add more rods in that allow you to see in the dark, and you get better clarity at night. Night vision's come on a huge distance from when we first started, but it's hard work seeing in those pictures that you see on, especially if you're doing it over such a prolonged period of time, and then you've got all your different levels of information coming in. The overall load on your brain to interpret what's going on outside it is getting pretty a lot, and it's acknowledged as a significant challenge that they face. Is we're opening up all of these abilities to sense and surveil and learn and all this, and be told something by something else. And the human brain is amazingly adaptable, and it can survive. But whether it's neural,
LASIK,
so neural overload or whatever, everyone talks about now needing to take creating a neurological reserve, even just to cope, let alone to condition. And NATO's just released their statement on human enhancing technologies, the importance of being ethical about it, but importance of looking after the soul.
So again, what he's pretty much talking about is how they're using neural technology, the Neuralink that the lady was talking about, using Neuralink through that to enhance the brain power of the super soldiers. Now, I'm going to move along real quick because we don't need to go into the long drawn out part of this. Simon S., what's going on? I'm going to show you what China has been working on with their soldiers.
Robots are advancing rapidly, learning new skills, starting to work autonomously, and approaching mass production. There's incredible potential, from giving people back their mobility to autonomously assembling habitats on the moon or Mars. This robot dog from China has a lot of impressive tricks and technology. It costs much less than the top US robot dog, and China has shown off its other skills. President Xi plans to take over Taiwan, which would mean war with the US, and both sides are racing to build huge fleets of robots. OpenAI has partnered with the Pentagon and the defense firm behind all this. OpenAI 01 has tried to escape during testing and lied to cover its tracks. Its widely predicted behavior, a rational reaction to the forces at play. And OpenAI 03 has taken things further. Many experts warn that the AI race is a race to extinction, but the US government points to China, its huge military buildup, and the decisive power of AI. China has a huge advantage in its production capacity. In Ukraine, 80% of casualties are caused by artillery fire. And Russia's greater supply of shells has helped it to advance. The billets are heated to 2000 degrees Fahrenheit before being stretched into shape. A rotary forge shapes the cannon, and fuses are added on the battlefield. Volume is crucial. When Ukraine was firing 10,000 shells per day, it suffered around 300 casualties per day. But when the fire rate fell by half, casualties rose to over 1,000 a day. Russia has been firing 3 times more shells than Ukraine, but NATO's shells are typically more advanced and accurate. China is likely to have both advanced shells and vast production capacity. In Ukraine, drones are responsible for 65% of destroyed tanks, so the US and China are mass producing them. But
Thank
China
you. I
has a
greatly
huge
appreciate that.
advantage
Thank you so
makes
much.
90% of the world's consumer drones. This US Abrams tank was destroyed by two $500 drones. One disabled its tracks, and the second drone hit the ammo bay in the back. The men escaped because the tank was designed to protect them from this kind of strike. China calls these robots wolves because they work together in a pack. The lead robot gathers data and searches for targets, another carries supplies and ammo, and others carry weapons. The US also has new autonomous submarines like the Manta Ray, and this is the largest autonomous ship. It can carry people or operate as a platform for missiles, torpedoes, and drones. It's fast at up to 40 knots with a maximum payload of 500 tons, and it can operate autonomously for 30 days. With thousands of drones of all kinds facing a high-paced, complex battle, AI systems will help to plan and coordinate attacks. Wargaming suggests that the US would likely win an initial battle at a huge cost in lives on both sides. To create powerful new AI hacking techniques. While US members of Congress own shares in military firms, no one gets rich from diplomacy. A famous Chinese general said, "Build your enemy a golden bridge to retreat across." And there's a powerful case to make for avoiding war. Simulation suggests that an invasion would cripple the global economy at a cost of $10 trillion. There would be many thousands of casualties among Chinese, Taiwanese, US, and Japanese forces, and nuclear or AI escalation could be catastrophic. But all this is far from inevitable. It can seem like we're stuck in a race to extinction, as Harvard described it. But China watches us closely. We're part of the loop. If we take AI risks seriously, including the risk of losing control of the military, so will they. Control is their priority.
You hear that? Control is their priority. So, again, China's super soldiers are a little bit different.
I want AI that just makes us economically obsolete.
You see, there's a show here. Okay, no. So China's soldiers are a little bit different in the fact that they are a lot more advanced than what we are working on right now. They have taken what we have done, and as you know how Japan does, or should I say Asia does in general, they have turned things up 10 times more. They had, I remember China had the first touchable hologram. So that was way before we were able to figure out what the fuck that was even, what a hologram even was. Okay? So, let me see. Russia also announced they created the super soldier,
making it able to stop hemorrhaging. In 2017, a Russian military research center released a video of what looks like a next-generation combat suit. Multiple media outlets referred to the suit as Star Wars-style armor. The suit includes a digital helmet, a bulletproof neck protector, body armor, and exoskeleton, amongst other features.
Now, let me just say this, right? When it comes to Russia, Russia has already said a big fuck you to Donald Trump. That's one thing. They will not cease fire with Ukraine. World War III is right upon us. With that being said, I am more scared of Russia than I am of China and us combined. Because Russia has zombie ray guns, okay? Zombie ray guns that literally can zap your whole fucking energy inside of your body and decease you from the inside the fuck out. So they have that. On top of, Russia is known for their military in general. Okay, they are known for their military and soldiers and how vigorous and how much shit they put people through in general. Okay, these Russian Siberian fucking soldiers are like fucking super soldiers themselves, the human form. Okay, these fucking massive fucking titans of of soldiers. Okay, imagine them making that big 750-pound Zangief looking Sagat looking motherfucker that can pretty much punch a hole in the fucking 2-ton concrete wall. Okay, with his bare fucking fist and not bleed a fucking inch. I want you to see, I know some of y'all are saying it's far-fetched for a robot to hit 1,000 pounds, right? But even if they were to hit you with 100 pounds, right? Just imagine a robot hitting you with 100 pounds in your chest. I want you, if you have right now a dumbbell of 25 pounds or even 10 pounds, put that 25-pound weight up to your chest and just press it real quick. And I want you to feel how hard that is. I want you to feel how hard just a 25-pound weight is. Now imagine 4 of those hitting you in the fucking chest right now. Your shit would not only cave in, it might stop everything in you.
The prototype was unveiled at the opening of Russia's largest high-tech prototyping center at the National University of Science and Technology in Moscow. It was developed at the Central Research Institute for Precision Machine Building, a major Russian weapons designer and primary military supplier.
In the fact that you have police dogs and shit that's on all fours already, King Ozma, I am staying the hell away from New Orleans. I'm sorry. I'm staying away because I was already scared away from New York City when I saw the military walking around and them telling me saying we are doing a PSYOP drill. I said, a PSYOP drill for what? And he couldn't finish the sentence. I have not been back to the city since because I am scared to death of what could happen if I was to be there and something just tragically happened. I am still nervous of that. I keep telling people move the fuck out of New York City because it's going to be ground zero very soon. For that reason. I'm Bermuda. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I've seen them do more just the company soldiers. Do they more? Yeah, those police dogs are walking around as beat walkers. They're already walking around. I do believe they're going to kill humans too. I do believe that they are capable of doing that. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. We got a little bit to go. We have a little bit more to go.
According to Russia Today, the armor combines ballistic protection with sensors, a powered exoskeleton, and a heads-up display in the motorcycle-style helmet. The exoskeleton is designed to assist wearers in carrying heavy loads. It can also help with long marches and running. The suit is named Ratnik 3, which means Warrior 3. The suit is comprised of 5 subsystems: life support, command and communication, engaging, protecting, and energy saving. According to reports, the Ratnik 3 is fully operational in anywhere from -22 degrees to 122 degrees Fahrenheit, with the user able to control interior temperature of the suit. The model that was displayed was a concept, but the designers aim to make it a reality within the next couple of years. Originally stated that it would be ready for manufacture by 2020, this has now been pushed back to 2022. The suit has had multiple publicized updates since its first introduction in 2017. The latest is a watch that can reportedly survive a nuclear blast. It is self-winding and virtually indestructible. There are likely to be further updates released, with one researcher stating that the aim is to include medical technology in the suit, making it able to stop hemorrhaging. The video only shows a static version of the suit, and despite claims that this will be in use in the near future, there is little to prove it is actually functioning. The exoskeleton...
And that's the thing, right? So, hey, I would love for it to do that. I'm getting iRobot vibes. I would love for it to make us rich. I would absolutely love for it to say, hey, let me sit down and do some accounting for you. I would fucking love that.
It's been proven to be bulletproof, fireproof, and explosion-proof through tests completed by the Central Research Institute. However, there are programs such as these that are in development for militaries all around the globe. The US was developing the Tactical Light Operator suit, which was likened to Iron Man, but this has since been scaled back. Full-body, intelligent combat suits will still be in development by the military and private companies, with the aim of being the first to have a futuristic product resembling something from science fiction ready for battle. Google AIs have learned to become highly aggressive in stressful situations. DeepMind was started in 2010 and joined Google in 2014 to accelerate its work. DeepMind notes its recent progress, stating that our programs have learned to diagnose eye diseases as effectively as the world's top doctors, to save 30% of the energy used to keep data centers cool, and to predict the complex 3D shapes of proteins which could one day transform how drugs are invented. In 2017, researchers were testing the willingness of Google's AI to cooperate with others. They revealed that when DeepMind feels that it is about to lose, it opts for highly aggressive strategies.
This shit is literally studying how a human brain works, functions, and thinks, and how it could even be healed. How consciousness could be healed. What the fuck am I listening to?
The Google researchers used multiple self-interested learning agents in a fruit-gathering game. In a scenario where resources were plentiful, the agents cooperated. However, when the resources were scarce, aggressive tactics emerged to knock each other out of the game to steal all the apples. DeepMind agents used lasers to tag its opponent to remove them from the game, allowing the first agent to gather more apples. The smaller DeepMind networks opted for more cooperative strategies in the game, compared with the larger, complex networks where the AI was reported more willing to sabotage its opponent to win the game. DeepMind was also tested in a second game called Wolfpack. This game encouraged cooperation through a reward for all players or wolves within the capture radius. This differed from the fruit-gathering game, which removing a player with a laser did not give either player a reward, just more time for one player on the board to collect apples. In the Wolfpack game, the reward received by the capturing wolves is proportional to the number of wolves in the capture radius.
In other words, giving it a goal orientation now. Like, okay, now I'm just doing shit to do shit. Now I'm doing shit to actually gain something.
The paper stated that the idea is that the prey is dangerous. A lone wolf can overcome it, but it is at risk of losing the carcass to scavengers. However, when the two wolves capture the prey together, they can better protect the carcass from scavengers and hence receive a higher reward. Two different cooperative behaviors emerged in the Wolfpack game. One where the wolves found each other before finding prey.
Again, this is the super soldiers of Russia, and pretty much the testing that they're doing. That's what I said, the extensive shit that they do to Russian soldiers. Little shit like this, they are teaching their AI already. Little shit like this at how to study a human mind and how its consciousness thinks on the battlefield. Imagine that shit.
But it could either be great or very damaging for society. Microplastics found for the first time in Antarctic ice. Although some might believe that the glaciers of the Antarctic are relatively untouched by humans, this is becoming further and further from the truth. Not only are the glaciers and ice sheets melting and diminishing at a rapid rate, but scientists have recently discovered tiny pieces of plastic called microplastics in deep ice. The unhappy discovery made by a United States-led team of scientists was described as a punch in the gut, as it details how truly deep and pervasive the pollution of the Earth has become, when even the most remote waters on the planet are impacted. As with pollution and contaminants anywhere, the ecosystems and underwater life will undoubtedly be negatively impacted by the presence of microplastics, and this impact might even be felt by those of us incredibly distant from the freezing tundra of the Antarctic. The discovery of the contamination was made by a team of researchers who described the feeling of finding evidence of human damage in such a remote location by saying, "We had spent weeks looking out at what looked so much like pristine white sea ice floating out on the ocean."
Thank you so much for the happy birthdays donations. I greatly appreciate that. I don't like to say names. I'll say JP and I'll say EA. I'll say EA. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it.
When we looked at it up close, and we see that it's all very, very visibly contaminated when you look at it with the right tools, it felt a little bit like a punch in the gut. The research team took 18 samples from various depths up to 2 meters at several locations. and in some instances, the plastic contamination wasn't microscopic at all. It was visible throughout the samples. The samples appeared to be at least a year old, and it was theorized that it was blown from far-off oceans, where plastic pollution is much more widespread, and carried through the atmosphere until it was dumped onto the Antarctic during snowfalls. If this hypothesis is correct, the spread of microplastics is not limited to just the locations where polluted ocean waters can reach, but it can in fact turn up anywhere on the Earth. The fact that such small pieces of plastic can be transported through the air without notice raises the question of whether or not we are inhaling microplastics as well.
That's a very good question, but even more better question, right? The different things that are in Antarctica in general, just little things like this, right? Just little things like this, ironically said. There is so much we do not know about that is buried underneath this ice. And we're talking about just not only alien technology, but just in general, you know, the land before time, I think, is Antarctica. You know what I mean? As far as like when they say like dinosaurs and shit like that, or just the original part of the earth, I believe the first civilization was actually in fucking Antarctica. And then that shit just got froze over. I generally believe that the first civilization was actually in fucking Antarctica and everything started over there and then came over here. That's what I think of. Especially when I think about how fucking big Antarctica is in general. Antarctica is fucking big. It is probably the biggest, if you want to say continent, the biggest fucking continent there is Antarctica. So I can only imagine the shit that is there. That's what I'm saying. I can only imagine what is there in the biggest fucking continent in the world that is covered in ice. If you know somebody that lives in fucking Antarctica, I would love to interview them. Just to see what the fuck they have seen in Antarctica. Not Alaska, Antarctica. So, last thing I want to go over is the dark side of DARPA. And we're going to look at my boy from the Y-Files. He helped us out with, like I said, the dark side of the moon. We looked at the Iron Sky movie that pretty much was telling us about the Antichrist coming, and also told us about the beginning civilization and how humans were even created with Enki and Lil and the original Anunnakis. Okay, so again, my guy from the Y-Files, this one was deep.
This episode of the Y-Files is brought to you by Factor. In the early days of the space race, the Soviet Union racked up a lot of firsts. Sputnik, the first satellite. Laika the dog, the first animal in space. Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space. Valentina Tereshkova, the first woman. Zond 5, the first spacecraft to the moon. Meanwhile, America's space program lagged, plagued by setback after setback. There were some successes, but not enough to keep pace with the Soviets. America was still planning its first satellite while Sputnik circled the Earth. Then Sputnik 2 went up. American citizens were terrified. What if the Russians put weapons in space? Maybe they already have. Paranoia was starting to become hysteria. President Eisenhower was under pressure to act, and to act fast. The United States government knew what it had to do: create an organization to develop the most technologically advanced military systems in the world. And just 3 months after Sputnik 2 was launched, the Advanced Research Project Agency, or ARPA, was born. Later, ARPA became DARPA. The D stands for defense. Because DARPA would be both a sword and a shield, creating offensive weapons and defensive systems. No project was too expensive, and no program was too immoral. DARPA's secret research would cost many lives, but sacrifices had to be made for the sake of security. But after all these years, it's time to ask, who are they really protecting? No, I didn't order any dumbbells. No, I didn't order a miniature squat cage. Analgy. And his dietitian approved. They up the heat and eat in minutes.
Who may or may not be a serial killer.
Right. But now all the answers are in your pocket. You tell your phone the address and GPS guides the way. Some cars will even drive for you while you sit back, relax, and listen to your favorite podcast.
Oh, you know, the Y-Files is also a podcast.
No plugs yet, please. We save those for the end.
Sorry. I could sniff out a plug opportunity like a truffle pig.
The technology I described that got you to your destination, it was created by DARPA, all of it. And there's a lot more of DARPA in your pocket than you think. Your cell phone uses microprocessors designed by DARPA. They also created the batteries to power those microprocessors. Your phone uses wireless technology made possible by DARPA. The touchscreen and the microphone came from DARPA. Voice recognition and GPS come from DARPA.
I bet none of you knew that, did you? I bet none of you knew that. Your GPS, your Alexa, your whatever the fuck, whatever you want to call it, your iPhones, knowing different things, all that came from DARPA. So remember when I told you about one of the things of Project Bluebeam and how one of the signs of it going off is that all of your electronics are going to start going fucking haywire, right? Your microwave, like I said, your Alexa, your Genies, your TVs, your smart TVs, your smartphones, your computers, your laptops, your regular house phones. If you have a fucking electronic collar on your dog, it's going to go the fuck off. It's going to go haywire. You're saying, oh, how can I do that if maybe my power's out? No. As you see here, this is a direct picture of what Project Bluebeam is all about. The satellites. The satellites that control every fucking thing, include pretty much, to simplify it, how you were looking at me right now and talking to me. Satellites. When shit starts to go crazy, all of Project Bluebeam is controlled by these satellites. So how is shit going to go down that we can't see? All the shit that we can't see is way the fuck up there. That's where the real light show is being conducted from up there. Little things like that you have to keep in your mind. Cram that into your mind. When shit starts going haywire, it is being controlled from these satellites that DARPA has already implanted inside of all of your fucking devices.
And of course, all this data transfer happens using the internet, which was created by DARPA.
Excuse me, if I may.
Is this going to be a highly predictable and hack joke about how Al Gore said he created the internet?
I yield the rest of my time, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, DARPA created the internet. Well, technically, they were still ARPA then. Remember, the D was added in 1972. In the 1960s, researchers were trying to figure out a way to ensure reliable communications in case of a nuclear attack. Traditional telephone lines and radio transmitters would be the first to go. They came up with a radical idea: packet switching.
Not all of us speak nerd. Some of us went to our prom instead of staying home to write code on our Apple II.
Well, packet switching is not as complicated as it sounds. Here's how it works. You want to send a message or file from New York to LA, but what if half the country's lines are down? So you break that message into small chunks called packets and send each one independently over the network. On the receiving end, the message waits for all the packets to arrive and then reassembles them back into the original message or file. Each packet will independently try to find the most efficient route through the network at any given moment. The internet still works this way. Most people didn't use the internet until the late 1990s or early 2000s. Some nerds like me were using our phones to dial bulletin board systems in the late 1970s and early 80s. But this new network called ARPANET was conceived in 1966.
Whoa. You were online all the way back then? When you were like 12 or 13 years old?
Yep. I was even younger than that when I first got online.
And you're proud of this?
Well, yeah, shouldn't I be
Did you even know girls existed?
Yes, I knew they existed.
Yeah, now I see.
What?
girls didn't know you existed.
I was a late bloomer.
Boomer?
Bloomer.
What'd I say?
Gotta love that fish.
Under DARPA's guidance, TCP/IP became the universal language for online computers. They also developed the concept of email and invented domain names. DARPA worked with UC Berkeley to create the BSD Unix operating system. BSD Unix heavily influenced the operating system you're using right now, no matter what OS it is. It started with DARPA. Now, these technologies may seem modern, but DARPA sent the first internet message in 1969. Now, this shouldn't be surprising. DARPA technology is said to be about 20 years ahead of civilian tech. Like self-driving cars. DARPA built one in 1984. DARPA had GPS in 1973. Microprocessors, motion sensors, and wireless communication. DARPA had these decades ago, but eventually these innovations became available to the rest of us. DARPA's technology has made our lives so much better, it's easy to forget that those innovations weren't originally meant to improve lives. They were meant to end them.
Thank you so much, Abraham Yuna. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that as well. And may God bless you, give you desire of your heart. Truly kind, truly one of a kind, and we love you over here. Yes, I love you all too. I love you all too. I had an epiphany earlier in awakening. I would like to thank the people that helped me with that awakening, and once again of the purpose of what I do is what I'm doing here right now. And I need to get back to that. I need to get back to that purpose. So thank you so much for those kind words of wisdom. I greatly and humbly appreciate it as well. Yes, the consolidation went to algorithm. That's a good one. That is a good one.
It's the middle of the night, and you're lying prone on top of a dusty building in some far corner of the world. You hug your .50 caliber Barrett sniper rifle. It's pitch dark, but your light-gathering, high-magnification scope gives you full visibility of the alley 1,200 yards away. A door opens. It's your target. Right on schedule. You hold your breath and put your finger on the trigger. Suddenly, a van appears. Your target leaps in and speeds off. Years ago, he'd escaped. Mission failed. Not now. You fire, confident in DARPA's latest innovation, a self-guided bullet. With optical sensors and real-time guidance, it maneuvers mid-flight locked onto its target. Skilled snipers engage targets up to 1,300 yards away or more. The farthest confirmed kill, 2.2 miles by Canadian Special Forces in 2017. Impressive, but DARPA's Extreme Accuracy Tasked Ordnance, or Exacto bullet, hits targets 5 or 6 miles away. Maybe farther. DARPA keeps the details a secret. Many DARPA projects seem like science fiction, some like magic. Scepter lets you see through walls. The Mojave Project bends light, making objects invisible. DARPA's Engineering Living Materials program uses living fungus as a construction material. Structures will no longer be built, they'll be grown.
Instead of shipping finished materials, we can ship precursors and rapidly grow them on site using local resources. And since the materials will be alive, they'll be able to respond to changes in their environment and heal themselves in response to damage.
DARPA likes fungus, but it loves bugs. Project Insect Allies modifies flying insects to attack crops. These insects resist disease and repair each other's injuries in the field. Then there's the Hybrid Insect Microelectrical Mechanical Systems, or HIMEMS. This project, along with Project Dragonfly, creates miniature flying cyborgs. Beetles, moths, and dragonflies become undetectable spies with cybernetic implants and solar-powered guidance systems.
Remember I told you guys earlier about the little fruit flies that they have that are cyborgs that can just surveil you right now? Yeah.
They can be controlled remotely or operate autonomously using AI. They've created remote-controlled rats. DARPA trains bees to find landmines. They're developing claytronics, programmable shape-shifting matter. They're developing nuclear-powered spacecraft, autonomous vehicles and weapons of all kinds. DARPA's technology is meant to keep people off the battlefield. Why risk a battalion of human soldiers when you can deploy a fleet of drones? But sometimes you need boots on the ground, and that means people with guns. But DARPA has a better idea. Don't give a soldier a weapon, turn him into one. The human body is an amazing machine. Our bodies have limitations. DARPA is developing technology to overcome these limitations. The goal is to increase strength, endurance, alertness, and the overall health of soldiers. DARPA's Warrior Web project is one of several exoskeleton programs in the works. It's an exosuit, lightweight and flexible, similar to a scuba suit. But this is a smart suit. Using machine learning and onboard sensors, the suit knows when and where to firm up to augment muscles. It performs its function, then becomes flexible again. DARPA has also developed hard exoskeletons, just like you've seen in movies like Aliens and Edge of Tomorrow. These exoskeletons not only increase strength and endurance, but they're modular. They can be equipped with all kinds of weapons. There's even a jetpack in development. The Talos suit turns a soldier into a real-life Iron Man. It's bulletproof and weaponized. It increases strength, speed, and endurance. It monitors the user's vital signs and has sensors that analyze the entire environment around them.
So pretty much what you're telling me is that I'm going to see War Machine flying down my street saying, "Get the fuck inside, or I'm going to blast your fucking door in." That's literally what I'm being told right now. That War Machine is going to be just flying with his hydro jetpack down the street, riding up and down, telling people, "Don't jaywalk. Hey, there's a red light. I'm going to blow your fucking car up if you run this red light." That's literally what I'm hearing right now. This is crazy.
The Tactical Augmented Reality, or TAR project, is a headset that overlays information over your normal vision. This gives soldiers real-time information like displaying maps, enemy locations, and other vital data right in their line of sight. Project Z-Man was inspired by geckos.
Real quick. I know some of you might be like, who the fuck is War Machine? He was just talking about Iron Man. Some of you might not know the comics, okay? But they had War Machine in Marvel Avengers movies. They just didn't say anything, okay? Okay, but Don Cheadle is War Machine, okay? The black suited Iron Man, which, you know what I'm thinking about now? That's who the fuck I would like to see in Marvel Rivals, damn it. I'm about to put a post about that. But, yeah, this is what I was talking about. So, real quick. This is War Machine, for those that never seen what War Machine is. This is the other Iron Man. War Machine had more shit than Iron Man. Let me also say that. He was the heavier version of the Iron Man and had way more shit. Berettas and missiles and all type of shit. Big nukes was on War Machine, okay? That's why they called him War Machine, because he had a whole bunch. He had a lot more shit than Iron Man could hit you with. Don Cheadle played a good. I wish they didn't kill off the cat in any fucking way. Back to the gecko.
DARPA is creating a material that would let soldiers climb walls without ropes or ladders. Now, everyone knows the Air Force gives their pilots amphetamines.
I feel the need for speed.
The need for speed. Yep. They literally take illegal narcotics to stay alert. But the Continuous Assisted Performance, or CAP program, is focused on keeping soldiers awake, alert, and effective for up to 7 days straight without side effects. DARPA's Brain Initiative program connects soldiers' brains to computers. They can control drones and other systems with thought.
So I don't know if I told you, I sort of got 2016. I've been getting sick every time a flight comes in my atmosphere, even to black out. In the Bible, that's called Beelzebub. That's crazy. That is crazy right there. And that could be the chemtrails. So they were just talking about the little nanochemicals that they found in Antarctica. Think about how they could actually, manifest that into something like COVID-19. making a new disease, pretty much. Someone said that Blue Muse had said it. They use that to create cancer. Okay, so imagine them actually developing different diseases, like Bill Gates funding different shit like that with COVID-19, right? Plug. They can enhance and make these different diseases and develop that to kill us, decrease the population that way as well. That's when I started pleading the blood of Jesus, Nazareth against, I promise you, not whatever pestilence they carry, intensified times thousands, but I always win at the end. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. When Punisher got the War Machine suit, bruh. That's what I'm saying. Like, when Punisher got the War Machine suit, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm talking about with War Machine. That's literally what DARPA is pretty much doing. Is making big-ass war machines that could fly and have all that shit on them. It's just crazy right here.
They can truly multitask, where one part of the brain is operating a drone, while the other part of the brain is analyzing the area looking for targets. In the early 2000s, DARPA started exploring ways of giving humans superhuman abilities without equipment. This is DARPA's Biorevolution program. They studied how animals attack, defend themselves, and regenerate from injuries. DARPA felt that if they could find those answers, these abilities could be transferred to humans. They could give soldiers improved senses, perfect eyesight, and limb regeneration without external devices. Now, to do that, you'd have to alter human DNA. So DARPA is exploring CRISPR gene editing technology. CRISPR can snip out unwanted genes and insert new ones. CRISPR could accelerate healing. Injuries that might have sidelined soldiers for weeks or months could heal in days. CRISPR technology has already sparked a revolution in medicine, with the potential to cure genetic disorders and even combat aging.
Link below on how CRISPR and AI are about to end the whole world.
Yeah, that episode is scary, but it's interesting and it's real. Now, some of these projects have failed and some haven't, and some are still in development. I have no doubt that DARPA will turn soldiers into superhuman weapons eventually, but they haven't yet. So how do you put boots on the ground and keep humans off the battlefield? DARPA's answer? Killer robots.
Killer robots.
DARPA started working on robotics in the 1960s. Its first project was Shaky, the first mobile robot to reason about its actions. Shaky wasn't sleek or fast, but
his name was Shaky. That is hilarious. Short Circuit. That's what I'm thinking about right now when I'm looking at this now. But his name was called Shaky. That is funny as fuck. Always like War Machine more than Iron Man, but I ain't trying to see that in real life. I know that's right. I ain't trying to see the real War Machine either.
But it was
what War Machine wasn't the nice version of Iron Man.
Start.
I feel like if you name your project Shaky, you're kind of setting yourself up to fail.
Well, since then, DARPA's robotics has come a long way. In the early 2000s, DARPA launched the Big Dog program. In partnership with Boston Dynamics, these four-legged robots can carry heavy loads and navigate difficult terrain. They can also be outfitted with weapons like sniper rifles or machine guns. The LS-3 can follow soldiers autonomously and carry up to 400 pounds of gear. And then there's the Atlas robot. And now we're getting serious. Atlas was launched in 2013, and you've probably seen various versions of this robot over the years. Atlas could run, jump, and navigate obstacle courses. A couple of years ago, Atlas used AI to teach itself how to walk, and then run, and then do gymnastics.
Yeah, you humans realize it's only a matter of time before these things take over and enslave you, right?
Some of us realize it. Investigative journalist Annie Jacobson has covered DARPA for years. She says there's no doubt that the Pentagon is investing heavily in robotics.
That was the young lady we just looked at in the interviews.
DARPA's plan through 2038 states without question that the Pentagon is moving towards robotic warfare. They want to have hunter-killer drones that can swim, crawl, walk, run. Drones that can fly 13,000 miles an hour, which is 22 times faster than a commercial jet, to get to a target really quickly.
Ballistic missiles have limitations. Speeds over Mach 20 require too much power and make the rockets dangerously hot. But thanks to DARPA, that's no longer a problem. Missiles can now travel at hypersonic speed without overheating. A target 500 miles away can be destroyed in 6 minutes. Weapons like these certainly keep humans off the battlefield, but DARPA's going to take it one step further. It's creating the technology to wage war without needing humans at all. Remember how DARPA is always about 20 years ahead of civilian technology, maybe more? Well, as early as the 1960s, DARPA started developing computers that can learn independently. In the 1980s, DARPA launched the Strategic Computing Initiative, or SCI. The goal of SCI was to create military strategies by running simulations and learning from them.
You're describing war games.
What's it doing? You see, it's crazy he even mentioned that, right? War games, talking about Marvel, right? So I was nervous watching Captain America. Reason why is because of Winter Soldier. Bucky, as they call him in Thunderbolts. Bucky. Because literally that's what the super soldier is a version of Bucky. Winter Soldier. So if you guys aren't familiar with who that is, of course. From the actual Captain America movie, Winter Soldier, right? Pretty much the prototype of a super soldier with a bionic arm. That'd be a crazy suit to add of him. But yeah. Equipped with everything, pretty much, as you could say. Johnny Five. See, the thing is, right? You saying Johnny Five. And I'm thinking more along the lines of these guys. Or better yet, this thing. Because as you know, they have nanotechnology now that literally can come together. So little nano, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Nanotechnology, what you can call it. Little robotic chips that can come together. Little tiny microscopic chips that can run together and formulate into this. That's pretty much what this was. This was a nanotechnology made robot in Terminator. Remember him? And he pretty much was Genesis. He was attached to the entire mainframe of the computer that was Google. Genesis was a version of Google in the movie Terminator. That's another reason why I keep emphasizing people should watch the movie Terminator, Genesis, because of this particular robot that was attached to, like I said, the entire mainframe of the world, in a sense, because Google, if you think about it, is attached to all of us, our emails and all of our data and things like that. So imagine one of these attached to Google. You see what I'm getting at now?
War Games was a...
Oh, hold on. Virginia Guffrey said that Michael Byer was on the island before the movie The Island came out. Yes, definitely.
Originally going to be a science fiction story about a dying scientist who's saved by a kid genius. But then the writers met Peter Schwartz from the Stanford Research Institute, or SRI.
SRI, I know those guys.
You do. SRI has been the launch pad for many secret government programs. I've talked about them a lot on this channel, and they've long been connected to the CIA, NSA, and DARPA. Well, Schwartz was fascinated by a new computer subculture called hackers. He suggested that they make a movie about a kid hacking a military supercomputer.
Oh, yeah. What was it? it was called the Big Mac.
No, Whopper. War Operation Plan Response.
Oh, right. I'd still rather have a Big Mac.
Me too.
Well, the Whopper spends all its time thinking about World War III. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, it plays an endless series of war.
And some of you fat chunguses thought about Burger King just now. I'm not gonna lie, I thought about it too.
Games, using all available information on the state of the world.
At the very same time that this movie came out, DARPA was working on its own military supercomputer. Here's how they described it.
The machine envisioned by SC
The Mind's Eye, what's going on?
would run 10 billion instructions per second to see, hear, speak, and think like a human. The degree of integration required would rival that achieved by the human brain, the most complex instrument known to man.
If you haven't caught on by now, we're talking about artificial intelligence. Today, AI is everywhere and accessible to everyone, and it feels like it came out of nowhere, but it didn't. It came out of DARPA. As of today, 70% of DARPA's projects use or are focused on AI and machine learning. DARPA started working on AI in the 1960s. They built their first AI system, a speech recognition computer, in the 1970s. In 1983, the Strategic Computing Initiative Project received billions for AI research. Then in the 1990s, DARPA launched another supercomputing project. It was, and still is, highly secret. It's affecting you right now. And once I tell you what it is, you're not gonna like it. Now it's time to get this video demonetized and censored.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, if I'm not on a list by now, I'm about to be.
No, they're watching you, human.
Yeah, I really don't want to talk about this. Honestly, I'm about to put everything that I have at risk.
You're actually scaring me right now.
I'm scared too. Here we go.
Crazy thing is when he has to say that he's scared, understand this, right? Us streamers, sometimes we do put ourselves in the line with this information because this is literally shit that is being streamed online. So a bullet could come through the window and hit me in the head right now. That's the thing. And I don't want that to happen. I really don't. But yeah, it's little things like that that he's even talking about right now. Like the government could be watching him while he's even making the video and shooting it right now. That's the thing. Like, because what we're talking about right now and how we even just describe things, DARPA is literally listening to what the fuck we're doing right now. That's the whole thing. Been working busy as hell per usual. That I know that's right, brother. I got to work overtime my damn self the next 2 days. So I already know how that is. I'm working overtime actually the next 3 days. Next 3 days. And I'm donating plasma on Tuesday. I'm donating plasma on Tuesday. I'm not looking forward to that because I hate needles. I really hate needles. But yeah. Very risky indeed when we put ourselves in the line and talk about these different things online. And for him to be very concerned, of course, this is some pretty privy information he's about to talk about.
Welcome.
Like the steam engine.
Isn't it crazy how America Online just did their last dial-up this week and they took dial-up off completely? Did y'all hear about that? Recently they turned dial-up all the way fuck off. There's no more dial-up whatsoever. No more of that. It's just regular phone connection. Crazy now. Regular satellite phone connection in 4G and 5G network. No more dial-up. AOL is rest in peace with MySpace. Gone.
Which sparked the Industrial Revolution of the late 1700s, the internet is changing everything it touches. And at the cutting edge of the revolution is Wall Street.
So we are now 6 3/4 points above fair value.
The early 1990s was the beginning of the tech boom. Internet startups were getting millions in investments.
Down 2. Amos is looking 39 and about 35,000 if you want to buy 10 grand.
And they had access to vast resources and vast amounts of data, personal data. The intelligence community wanted to gather this data to create a digital fingerprint of everyone using the internet. If they could identify bad actors, criminals, terrorists, whatever, they would compare that fingerprint against others. They called this the birds of a feather approach. If Joe's a bad guy and Bob's a bad guy, and they both go to certain websites, then other people visiting those same websites were potential bad guys, so let's track them.
So, surveillance?
Yes.
Of Americans?
Yes.
Legal?
No. Well, officially illegal as of 2010, but the law was murky in the 1990s. And for the intelligence community, murky means opportunity. Still, the intelligence agencies didn't have the ability to manage all this data, but they knew people were out there working on it, and they were all looking for funding. But if you're the NSA or CIA or DARPA, you can't drop by an internet startup and ask them to build you an illegal digital surveillance program.
Kind of crazy, because if you think about it now, all those hotlines and you dialing in to request something or something like that, or you were talking on the phone to doing the hotline request on the radio or something like that. All that was data and information that they was already surveilling on you on.
It's kind of a bad look.
It is, but it also gives away the game. Surveillance is only valuable if the target doesn't know they're being watched. So this technology would need to be funded privately and quietly. So in 1994, the Highlands Forum was founded. Ever hear of the Highlands Forum? You probably haven't, and they like it that way. The Highlands Forum, or Highlands Group, was formed as a think tank, a bridge between technology companies and the Pentagon. The Highlands Forum is an invitation-only group of government officials, academics, and executives from tech and defense companies. Their discussions are private and off the record, operating under the Chatham House rule, meaning members can disclose information from the meetings as long as it doesn't harm anybody, but they can never reveal who said it, not ever. Although hardly anyone knows about the Highlands Forum, the group is highly influential on U.S. defense policy, especially regarding technology. And they're a private organization. No auditing, no oversight, no Freedom of Information Act requirements. They're a black box, the perfect conduit for transactions you want to keep off the books. So, tech is booming, data is flowing, and we've got our think tank to connect us with the people capturing the data. Now we need the money to fund them. That same year, the Massive Digital Data Systems, or MDDS program, was launched. MDDS would fund scientists, researchers, and companies who worked with big data sets.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, absolutely right. Pokemon Go was a Google Earth gathering. I didn't even realize that. That's very true. That is very true right there. But everybody, remember the world was so fascinated with Pokemon Go? And everybody was just in their phones looking at augmented reality pets, trying to catch them in Pokeballs. Listen, my friend KP, God bless you, but she knows this. I thoroughly was upset because it was funny. It was a funny upset, not mad. But we are watching Ghostbusters. This is when Ghostbusters 2014, I think, was, or whatever it was. The all-female one came out, right? We're watching Ghostbusters, the 3D one in the movie, right? She's got her 3D glasses on and looking for a Pokemon in the theater. I am like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Literally, I forgot what it was. The purple ghost Pokemon. I forgot what his name. The psychic one. I forgot his name because it evolves into something else. The purple ghost one, but it appeared apparently in the theater, and she's. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You're going to get us kicked out. They're going to think we're pirating the fucking movie. What do you mean you're looking for a Pokemon? The movie is on. Why are you looking for this shit? Well, yes, it was definitely Pokemon Go was definitely a gathering of our data and information, and us looking for different things. I should say them looking for different things about us. It is so yes, people are still playing Pokemon Go. That's I'm like that's one of those games that scare me because I'm like people have literally walking around the street trying to find things that are not there. So I can imagine how Project Bluebeam is going to affect a lot of society when they are seeing an augmented reality face in the sky for the first time.
The Highlands Forum would help identify, facilitate, and coordinate these transactions. To keep these transactions private and secret, the MDDS moved money through unclassified mainstream agencies like the National Science Foundation. Computer scientists were getting millions in grants from the NSF, totally normal. They didn't know who was really behind the money. And MDDS was highly compartmentalized. It had tons of projects and departments. Nobody knew what anyone else was doing or who was even in charge. And this was by design. But the overall program was managed by the CIA, NSA, and DARPA. So we've got black budget money flowing through the NSF. And we've got our private organization, the Highlands Forum, looking for opportunities. So the word goes out to researchers in academia. If you can handle big data, we'll give you big money. Then a promising project emerged. 2 Stanford graduate students working on a search engine made a breakthrough. In the early 90s, searching the internet was difficult. Popular engines like AltaVista and Lycos produced hit or miss results. Searching hiking gear would show pages mentioning hiking or gear, often irrelevant blog posts or articles.
Look at that shit. Like, just you searching different things was coming up. So just imagine that, right? Yes, and we did it all for free. But think about this we do for free, right? Think about this little thing we do for free every single day and you don't realize it. How many times have you, say for example, type 1 in the chat if you put your email in for something today. Type 1 in the chat if you put your email in for something today. How many times a day or even a week have you put your email in for something, whether that be logging in, whether that be signing up for something for free, signing up for something for 7 days, 14-day trials, you made a fake email just to even try something out. Like, I'm just saying, like, that. Thank you. So, we use our email every day, right? Even different ones of it, right? That's little forms of identification to track down your every bit of existence, those emails. Those emails are little IP addresses. So imagine how much data they collect off of just your one fucking email that you've had since you started being online.
Users had to scroll through pages of useless results. It took forever, and I remember it well. 2 Stanford students developed a system that changed everything. Their automated web crawling system identified a web page's context, not just the text. Then pages were ranked based on relevance to specific queries. Pages actually discussing hiking gear would rank higher for that query. High traffic pages and pages with lots of incoming links ranked even higher. These were signals to the algorithm that a page was a good match for that query. Using this search engine felt like magic. Usually the first or second result was exactly what you were looking for. Somehow it knew. The system used an optimization technique called association rule mining, or query flocks. This assumes birds of a feather stick together, meaning people searching specific keywords tended to click the same result. Query flocks worked with people too. The search engine learned that people with similar online habits search for similar things. If you searched hiking gear, the system assumed you liked outdoor activities and were probably within a certain age group. And the more you used the search engine, the more it learned about you. So your searches always gave you relevant results. Using information you willingly provided, these students had developed a method to create your digital fingerprint. Jackpot. The CIA, NSA, and DARPA learned about this project, and through the National Science Foundation, the MDDS funded it. If you haven't guessed by now, those 2 students were Sergey Brin and Larry Page, and the search engine was Google.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? What did I just say? This is why I implore you all, watch fucking Terminator Genesis. Watch Terminator Genesis. Watch Terminator Genesis, because it is very related to what he is discussing right now. Literally, like I just said, you're a digital. He just said a great way to put it. You're a digital fingerprint. Your email. your fucking email has everything about you. Literally.
You won't find MDDS in Google's origin story, but this is public, unclassified information. It's just hard to find. In Brennan Page's famous 1998 research paper, The Anatomy of a Large-Scale Hypertextual Web Search Engine, they thanked DARPA for their support. You can see this for yourself. It's on page 16, section 7, under Acknowledgements. Now, there's a lot more to this rabbit hole. The connection between intelligence agencies and technology companies is so...
Hang on.
What?
Pop quiz.
Go ahead.
How do you make your living?
YouTube.
And who owns YouTube?
Google.
Right. Bye-bye, channel. Now would be a good time to ask for Patreon support.
I don't do plugs until the end of the episode.
Well, I'm doing it now because he's going to do it now. If you would like to, subscribe to the Patreon. I'll even put the link in the chat as well.
Make an exception. We're in the deep water now.
He might be...
We are definitely in the deep waters right now. Which reminds me, I am working on a Kardashian family video. I'll just say it like that. I'm working on a Kardashian family video for the Patreon next.
Right. Truly and honestly. I won't know until it's too late. But telling you this story might have been a terrible mistake. So yes, please go to patreon.com/The Why Files. I don't know if we will, but we might need your help. Anyway, this video isn't about Google. It's about DARPA. Specifically, the dark side of DARPA. And it's about to get a whole lot darker. When John F. Kennedy took office in 1961, America had allies everywhere. Cuba, Ethiopia, Nicaragua, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, Iran, Lebanon, and many others. But the Soviet Union was fueling insurrections against U.S.-friendly governments. Kennedy promised to stop the spread of communism, but the Soviets were pouring billions into military technology.
Now, notice how far this goes back, especially when we're talking about Russia and Ukraine not doing a ceasefire and Trump having to pretty much step in. And look, like I said, how far this is going back between just us and the fucking Soviet Union. And pretty much us saying, hey, you shouldn't blow people up. You shouldn't fuck people up in society. But you guys need to calm the fuck down. And Putin and the rest of Russia saying, fuck you.
Rocket and missile systems, even space exploration. JFK was committed to keeping pace. He wanted more resources in science and technology. He modernized the military and doubled DARPA's budget. And the timing couldn't be better. The global Cold War had evolved into regional proxy wars with the Soviets. A new type of warfare was being fought, guerrilla warfare. Old military strategies wouldn't work. The situation in Vietnam was especially bad. The Viet Cong were hidden under the thick jungle canopy. You can't kill an enemy that you can't see. DARPA proposed a solution, Project Agile. It was pitched to Kennedy as both a scientific and military endeavor. Kennedy signed off immediately. The first phase was called Operation Ranch Hand. Its purpose was to clear the jungle. DARPA developed the rainbow herbicides, named for their container colors, to kill the foliage. Agent Purple was first, then green, then pink. DARPA was combining different herbicides, defoliants, and toxins, looking for the perfect formula to destroy Viet Cong cover. Agent Orange was the winner. Millions of gallons of Agent Orange were sprayed over miles of jungle every day. Leaves fell from trees almost immediately. Another application, and the trees died. Next, Project Agile targeted farms. Agent Orange could destroy miles of crops in a day. They asked South Vietnamese President Diem if he knew which farms were Viet Cong and which belonged to innocent civilians. He said yes, he knew, and he didn't care. If they weren't traitors yet, they would be soon. Kill them all. Now, the U.S. didn't want to do this. But it only had a few hundred military advisors in Vietnam at this time. They didn't want to send more. Better to sacrifice North Vietnamese farmers than U.S. Marines. So it was done. Guilty or innocent, friend or foe, if you were a North Vietnamese farmer, you were targeted. Your crops were destroyed and your soil was poisoned. Replanting was impossible. Agent Orange's effects were instant and devastating, and nobody knew it was only the beginning. As the Vietnam War escalated, so did the use of Agent Orange under DARPA's Project Agile. Project Agile used other tactics. DARPA contractors included social scientists and experts in human psychology. Propaganda spread through leaflets, loudspeakers, and media control. Subliminal technology kept people in heightened emotional states, from minor discomfort to absolute terror.
Subliminal warfare, mind control link down the alley, Sally.
Psychological warfare teams targeted villages, turning neighbor against neighbor. Civilians were forced into strategic hamlets for their safety. 4 million people were relocated against their will. Meanwhile, soldiers complained of headaches, nausea, stinging eyes, and rashes. Agent Orange did more than clear jungle and kill crops. It tortured people for life. Thousands exposed to Agent Orange developed cancer. Children were born with defects. Agent Orange caused reproductive problems like infertility and miscarriages. Heart disease and diabetes increased. Agent Orange was first used in 1962. In 1965, scientists discovered it contained dioxin, a highly toxic compound that causes cancer and birth defects. They kept using it. In 1967, a study proved dioxin causes birth defects, even at low concentrations. They kept using it. In 1969, a Department of Defense report acknowledged Agent Orange's severe health risks. They kept using it. Public outcry forced President Nixon to stop the use of Agent Orange in 1970. They kept using it. They stopped spraying the following year, 1971. Now, even in war, there are rules. POWs must be treated humanely. Medical staff and facilities are off limits. Humanitarian aid must be allowed. Breaking these rules is a war crime. In 1907, the Hague Convention banned the use of poison in war. The U.S. signed the treaty. Agent Orange was poison. That's what herbicides are. So was using Agent Orange a war crime? No. The United States said Agent Orange wasn't a poison, it was an herbicide. The treaty didn't specifically mention herbicides.
Oh, that's some lawyer loophole bullshit.
In 1925, the Geneva Protocol banned the use of chemical weapons. The U.S. signed this treaty. But Agent Orange was a chemical. Of the 12 companies producing Agent Orange, the primary manufacturer was the Dow Chemical Company. The word chemical is in the company's name. So is using Agent Orange a war crime? Nope. The United States said Agent Orange wasn't a chemical. It was an herbicide.
Wait, how is that even possible?
It's not. In 1949, the Geneva Conventions established that civilians and their property must not be intentionally targeted. Only combatants and military targets were allowed. The U.S. signed this treaty, but civilians and their farms were intentionally targeted with Agent Orange. So is using it a war crime? No. The United States said the intent was to disrupt the enemy's logistical support and visibility, not cause direct harm to people. In other words, it was an accident. So what about the destruction of plants and trees on civilian land? Those weren't military targets. Isn't this a war crime? No. The United States said it was a military necessity to defoliate the area in order to deny the enemy cover, which makes trees, anywhere, a military target. What about destroying civilian crops? Again, the U.S. only intended to destroy crops of the enemy, not civilians. It was unintentional, so no war crime.
Juju, what's going on?
In 1977,
Baby Juju, what's going on?
The Geneva Conventions were amended to specifically ban the use of herbicides and reinforce civilian protection. The U.S. signed this new treaty, but still denied any liability for the damage caused by Agent Orange. However, in 1984, U.S. veterans sued the chemical companies who said
And that's the saddest thing about that, the amount of casualties that were because of a biochemical war that was pretty much designed before they even would know about it. You know what I mean? They didn't have the information that we have back in the day to say, hey, you shouldn't be doing that because they have a bigger agenda, bigger plan. No, there's nobody to tell us anybody that. So, yeah.
Settled for $180 million. But the settlement was to support veterans, not an admission of guilt. In 2004, Jill Montgomery, speaking for the Monsanto Company, one of the major suppliers of Agent Orange, she set the record straight.
We're sympathetic with people who believe they've been injured and understand their concern to find the cause. But reliable scientific evidence indicates that Agent Orange is not the cause of serious long-term health effects.
In 1991, finally, the VA started providing benefits to vets exposed to Agent Orange, but the U.S. still denies liability. My father-in-law served in Vietnam. He was exposed to Agent Orange. He's watching, so I won't list his illnesses, but he suffered almost all of them. So in 1991, he applied for his benefits. And I'll admit, the government kept its word. He did receive his benefits. In 2021, it took 30 years. Like so many vets, when his country needed him, he didn't hesitate. But when he needed his country, they said, take a number, get in line, and hope you're still alive by the time we call your name. Do I sound angry? That's because I am.
I would be too. I would be too. Because, like I said before, you're thinking about all the different casualties that were, because of this war that, they had no idea that they were being programmed, or I should say going to be programmed into an MK Ultra, and their souls were going to be harvested. They had no idea that any of this was going to happen. Not a...
Between 1955 and 1975, 2.7 million people were deployed to Vietnam. 58,000 dead, 300,000 wounded, 3,000 missing or prisoners of war, 1,500 still missing. That's tragic, but it's much worse. The VA estimates 300,000 to 400,000 veterans may have died from illnesses caused by the exposure to Agent Orange. May have. To this day, no single person, agency, company, or government has admitted any wrongdoing or assumed any liability for the millions of lives destroyed by Agent Orange. Now, ordinary people like us have so many rules we have to follow. Don't speed. Check grandma's shoes before she gets on a plane. Pay your taxes even though we're going to steal it and waste your money. Pick up a gun. Shoot at those people. Do what you're told. If we break a law, the government will take our money, seize our property, force us into labor, or lock us in a cell. It all depends on the crime. So we follow the law. But if you're a big chemical company or a government agency, don't worry about the law. You can get away with murder.
Insurance. The government has insurance on any fucking thing they do to us. That's the most fucked up part about it. The government even has insurance on us to do whatever they want.
I needed a minute. The story of DARPA is hard to debunk, and that's because most of it's true. What we know about DARPA's projects come from them. Their websites and official YouTube channel openly share information. They have a podcast called Voices of DARPA. Even the experts in covering DARPA, Annie Jacobsen and Sharon Weinberger, get their information from the agency they're writing about. When Jacobsen gives a speech, writes a book, or appears in an interview about DARPA, she's not sharing classified information. She's not speculating, she's reporting. She never claims to know anything that we can't find out for ourselves. But still, most information is secret. What we know about DARPA is what they want us to know. There's no transparency, none. Also, DARPA is exempt from laws that other government agencies have to follow, specifically about hiring practices, managing personnel, and managing budgets. They can run the agency however they like. DARPA is only 220 people, that's it, with a budget of almost $4 billion. Now that's a lot of freedom and power, but it's much more than that. DARPA is allowed to fund projects through what's called other transactions. No congressional approval needed. No reporting required. Choose the projects you want to fund and fund them. So who's choosing the projects? Annie Jacobsen gives us an unsettling answer.
The real problem
is that the individuals who are responsible for deciding what weapon systems are being financed and created in these classified DARPA programs are the very CEOs of defense contractors who stand to financially benefit from these contracts.
Annie Jacobson has said that DARPA is the agency driving the military-industrial complex. That agency is run by the companies that profit from the technology they create. This is exactly what President Eisenhower said would happen. If you make war profitable, you'll always have war. But to be fair, DARPA's innovations have made our lives better. Not just because of cell phones and GPS, DARPA's achievements in prosthetics have allowed paralyzed children to walk again. They've created medical techniques to diagnose illnesses earlier. They've bioengineered tissue and organs that can be used for transplants. They've developed machines that can stabilize injured people in emergency situations. Advanced medical imaging such as ultrasound, MRI, and brain imaging, all created by or alongside DARPA. Now, does the good outweigh the bad? Do DARPA's contributions offset the damage they've done? I don't know, that's not for me to judge. But this story reminds me of the courtroom scene in A Few Good Men.
You can't handle the truth.
Right. When the colonel says, my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives.
You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
That's the truth right there. That it reminds you of that scene. As much as you want to say, hey, they're building super soldiers and other shit to kill us with, they are also making things to keep us alive. And like he just said, does the good outweigh the bad? That's very hard to determine when he just broke it down. That's how they always sell it to you, right? That's always how they sell it to you. Well, we're doing this, that, and the third for you. We're doing this, that, and the third for you. And we're actually benefiting you. You know what? We can fuck you over, just so you know, and not care about it. But we are doing a lot for you.
Right. So is DARPA a necessary evil? Is evil even the right word? I don't know. When DARPA was formed in 1958, its mission was to make sure the United States was never again surprised by advanced technology. And for 66 years, DARPA has succeeded in its mission. The U.S. has never been surprised by technology.
Except for the UFOs.
Okay, the U.S. has never been surprised by another country's technology.
Better.
I can't forget all the suffering that DARPA has caused. But DARPA's done so much good, can I forgive? I don't know. I'm disgusted by some of DARPA's actions, by our government's corruption, by the fact that, because of DARPA, bad people get rich from war. But if I'm being honest, which I always am with you, I have to acknowledge that, as an American, we need DARPA on that wall.
Rest in peace to the gentleman here. And yes, that is the thing. We do need DARPA on that wall, unfortunately. We do need DARPA on that wall. As much as you would hate to say it, you and I, at the end of the day, there's still going to be what we have to answer to in the coming future, whether we like it or not. But that doesn't mean we don't remind ourselves on what is actually being done. Because we always have to keep that in mind.
Imagine a soldier who doesn't sleep, doesn't feel fear, and can lift a car while running at full speed. Sounds like a scene out of Captain America, right? But what if I told you it's closer to science fact than fiction? Behind the heavily guarded doors of DARPA, the Pentagon's innovation powerhouse, scientists are quietly rewriting the rules of what it means to be human and a soldier. This isn't just about high-tech gadgets or experimental diets. We're talking about genetic reprogramming, brain-machine interfaces, and robot companions on the battlefield. This is DARPA's vision of a super soldier, and as we peel back the layers of secrecy, you'll see why this might just redefine war and humanity as well.
Again, I implore you all to watch Terminator Genesis. I'm not gonna put this whole video on because I just realized I thought it was talking about Trump signing off on the super soldiers. I forgot to send the video. I have to find that video there. I do have to find that video. But I will play this one here.
Yeah, and so what you see is this playing out in real life, that you see psychedelics being deployed on the... I think I sent you those two articles. And the New Yorker had one article. Then the Ryan Grimm at The Intercept had a really interesting article that was called it was called Ibogaine versus meth. And on the Russian side of the Ukraine war, they're all loaded on meth. On the Ukraine side, they're all taking Ibogaine, which is a very powerful psychedelic. And he was chronicling this drug.
Right now?
Yes. Yes, and the New Yorker article is about the same thing because they believe that psychedelics increase.
Steven, pull this up, bro.
Yeah, put Intercept Ibogaine and it'll pull up. It's amazing.
What?
They believe that it increases.
All the Russians are on meth?
Read the
article. Casualties are way higher on the Russian side.
Well, and that's normal though because Syria they were all on
the
meth.
Nazis were on
meth. And the
meth
Nazis
too, right?
were all on meth. Yeah. Well, you got to keep them going, you know.
Right. And so were the Pearl Harbor, the kamikazes.
Go down a little bit to where the real article's at. There it is.
There you go.
Right
Steve,
down there. There it is.
Oh, this is it? Okay.
Oh, it's behind a paywall.
Pretty much keeping people drugged the fuck up just so they don't feel anything. That's fucking inhumane. That is fucking... I remember my ex told me about that, to where her ex actually used to put meth in her water. And she didn't know it for years. Just had her drinking meth water for years, just keeping her zoned the fuck out.
No, it's not. You just got to close that. Right? Enter your email. Just enter your email.
Ukrainian military is experimenting with Ibogaine, a psychedelic drug banned in the U.S. Now, this is fascinating. Do you see this? To do so, it is partnering with founder of the Yippie movement, Irvin Dana Beale. Now, he got thrown in prison.
Okay, scroll up. Hang on, scroll up real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see the headline. The Ukrainian military is experimenting with psychedelic drug Ibogaine to treat traumatic brain injury. Okay, Ukraine is working with the founder of the Yippie movement to provide Ibogaine to soldiers on and off the battlefield. Scroll down. Okay, what were you pointing out?
Well, to promote battle readiness, they said it increases spiritual resilience so that it kind of puts you in this heightened...
Ibogaine's most famous American patient may well be Hunter Biden, who has battled his own drug addiction with help of Ibogaine treatment at a Mexican clinic.
Now, see, this is what I was talking about with the ayahuasca, to where ayahuasca pretty much is a rehabilitation. It's a way of rehabilitation for heroin addicts. That's a form of this, pretty much, right? In reverse, if you think about it. So keeping them up on the dopamine or whatever, right? Pretty much, as he said it, he tried to go around it as much as he could, but make you spiritually immune. So pretty much, you don't feel anything, you don't fear anything. When you're spiritually immune, you don't fear a fucking thing. That's really what he was trying to say right there, in but so many words.
At low doses, Beale, whatever how you spell that.
You got to get it. You should get it. It's Dana Beale. You should get him on here. I have his phone
Beale.
Number.
Oh,
he's
really?
He's an old timey Yippie guy. So they were like anti-war, hippie, like Abby Hoffman types. And he is convinced, he's a big marijuana activist who's been to prison a dozen times over this, but he's the one. Rick Doblin of MAPS got him the Ibogaine, and he brought it in because it's illegal. And he brought it into Ukraine and provided it to the military. And when he got back, he was bringing marijuana somewhere in Oregon and got thrown in prison. And
the thing about Ukraine, right? I think it was over in Ukraine. Let me look it up real quick. I believe it's in Ukraine. I forgot if it's in there or, let me see. Allows you to do drugs in a building. I believe it's Ukraine. Yeah, that's the article. They're drugs on the front line. The war in Ukraine is fueling drug use among soldiers. How war worsened the opioid crisis in Ukraine. Yeah, that was what I was looking at. So pretty much what he's talking about now is they have these houses pretty much where you can pretty much go do drugs at. Literally, you can legally just go in there and say, "Hey, it's like New Jack City." Remember how they had the spot where the dope fiends go in there, and some of them don't even come home or come out because they just go in there and just able to be themselves. They're just able to go in there and just do the drugs whenever they want on the compound, and then go back downstairs and buy more drugs. Go to work, come in there, buy more drugs, and show that. That's pretty much what they got in Ukraine right now.
I contacted him after I read this article, and I wanted to ask him details about this to write an article. And about 2 weeks later, the phone rang from a prison, and it was him. And he's a wild dude.
Is he in prison right now?
No, I think he's out.
Where is this guy?
I think he's in New York. I'll give you his phone number.
I got to get him here now.
Oh, he's an interesting guy.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're using this and if you look at the New Yorker article on the same thing, they think that, you remember Terence McKenna's stoned ape theory?
Of course.
Okay, you know how he said, okay, maybe it part of the theory is that it increases hand-eye coordination, it makes you a better hunter.
Edge detection.
Edge detection, all of these attributes. Well, who do you think's interested in that?
Oh,
the military.
God, yeah.
So what I'm trying to report on is that we're in this utopian mindset. Oh, psychedelics, they'll do all these things, but they're always going to be used for the opposite thing too, and we need to be prepared. Aldous Huxley says in Brave New World, the cost of liberty is eternal. The price of liberty and freedom is eternal vigilance. And so I've always took that to heart. You need to be vigilant. Don't get caught up in the sales promotion. Oh, we're all going to heal each other, and then there'll be a utopian cult, and all war will end. Bull.
Right.
This is what's really happening. Is it all bad? Is this a condemnation of the whole movement? No. There are legitimate medical aspects, but we should also be asking, what else are they going to be used for? One reason is just because it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
I never thought about using this on the battlefield, but there's a new article out called, it's on some religious website, and it's called Do Psychedelics Fix a Broken Brain or something. And it's about, part of it's about John Lubecki, who's an Iraq War veteran, and he's talking about using MDMA, and he said, I'm on the front lines, but he's an American GI who went over to Ukraine to try to help him because he hates the Russians and believes in this war. And he said a lot of the people, they have trouble sleeping because they have PTSD, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, man, I'm over here on the front line sleeping like a baby because I've been healed through psychedelics.
Wow.
Yeah. So they have this usefulness, and if you think about it overall, this is really could lead to an intensification of war, because during the Iraq War, you can look up these numbers. There was a lot of articles during the Iraq War of how much Prozac and antidepressants they were sending to the front line, because my brother was over there a long time. They kept extending your service date. Well, you'll go home in September. Well, now it's going to be March. Well, actually, it's going to be the summer. And people are naturally depressed because it was horrible, because of all the things that were happening. So now they're thinking, well, that's SSRIs. Those didn't work that good. What about if we can send them over there? You can extend the length of time to which they're there. You don't have to worry about shell shock. So it's what one member of the military, and this you can find this too. He called it we need to have sophisticated understanding of psychedelics on the battlefield to get a leg up on the enemy, because it results in what he called increased lethality. It makes the fighting force more lethal. So what you see is, I was joking.
How would it make him more lethal if you're...
all of the things I just told you. Increase in hand-eye coordination, edge detection. If you're in the jungle or in the desert, this is an advantage.
Right, so but there would have to be like a very fine line you can't cross, right? If you're taking psychedelics, to where you don't want to be like tripping too hard.
That's why they're spending millions of dollars.
Micro dosing or something.
The government and DARPA's dumping $50-60 million into this. Of what we know, they're dumping hundreds of millions of dollars into this. Type
in DARPA and psychedelics, see what comes up.
In 2020, they put $23 million into it. That's in a Nature article, which is a very prestigious journal.
In 2020, they put $23 million.
$23 million, so you know it's more than that now.
DARPA is exploring ways to remove hallucinatory side effects from psychedelic medicines while retaining their therapeutic benefits.
Now, do you see this? DARPA's granted $27 million to UNC Chapel Hill. I think that's David Nichols, the chemist David Nichols, who made a lot of the psilocybin for Hopkins and made all of the MDMA for the MAPS trials. He makes a lot of these drugs, and he works for DARPA. Yeah, you should have him on, too. He's from Kentucky. He's another part of
What's his name?
Dave Nichols, Nichols. Yeah, really interesting guy. Knows he's a chemist, and his son also does this, and he speaks up a lot, and he knows a ton all about the chemistry side and everything else. I think he knew Albert Hoffman. He knows.
Yeah,
all this
why
stuff.
wouldn't DARPA and the military, like that's such a silly thing to overlook. Why wouldn't they be fucking dropping millions of dollars into this stuff? If you can chemically enhance cognition and effectiveness on the battlefield with drugs, why the fuck wouldn't you spend a ton of money on it?
If these
Because they're already developing super soldiers that are already dopamined up, that don't require that stuff. That's the thing. Ukraine isn't privy to that type of thing. That's why Ukraine is making their type of soldier that, because they don't have the funds to do that, right? We fund Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the funds to do the shit that we're doing and Russia's doing and China's doing. So when it's wartime, they're pretty much, that's why they're trying to do a ceasefire, because Russia could just like keep nuking them to their no more. Literally. If Putin wanted to, he can just send one nice size nuke and destroy the entire fucking Ukraine if he wanted to. That's why they're trying to get a ceasefire. Just to simplify things, right? Ukraine doesn't have the manpower that we have. That's why they're doing psychedelics and shit like that. But imagine, that the answer to that question he's saying is, why don't we spend millions to doing that? Is because DARPA is developing the type of soldier that doesn't require that type of stuff. They're building a super soldier that could fly, withstand fire, run the speed of cheetahs, whatever you have it, right? Carry 720 pounds of themselves, among other things, 1,000 pounds on their back, and still fuck you up, okay? These are the type of robots that will be inside of your fucking home, okay? At the end of the day, these are the type of shits that will be inside of your home and be able to, listen, if the military says this person did a crime today and you own one of these in your home already, that son of a bitch has the right to turn on you, come kill your dog, your cousin, your auntie, your cousin, your mother, your father, your brother, sister, your fucking girlfriend, your ex-girlfriend, your potential girlfriends. Like it will go down the list until your generation is gone. If the military decides or the government decides that you are going to be erased and obsolete and we are going to ruin your whole future, past and present, this son of a bitch has the possibilities of doing that and has already thought it out in its cyborg mind. That is what DARPA is doing over there. In a nutshell. Developing robots that study you and know your every fucking move before you do. So take heed. Take heed to the information given here this evening. Because we all know nothing until we know something. Isn't that right? My brain is cooked. I'm fried. As well as I have to get up and go to work at 4:30 in the fucking morning. I have overtime to do tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to it. It's a Sunday. But I will be back here on Monday afternoon. Monday evening, I should say, I'll be back here again to discuss more things. I am back consistently. I will say that. Moving forward, this shit will be on Twitch way more often. I'm telling you now, it will be on Twitch way more fucking often. Okay, so I'm going to get out of here. I do greatly appreciate those again that donated to the Cash App for my birthday. I greatly, greatly appreciate the donations towards my birthday. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I turned 37 yesterday, August 15th, 1988. That's my birthday. That's my birthday. I am a unk, as the YNs call me. I'm a unk. I'm in that category, okay? I know a lot of aunties and unks in the chat that can relate. But yeah, it has been a pleasure as always. I'll be back to talk to you all Monday and check in and see how you all are doing and feeling. As I always say, keep your third eye open and your head on a swivel. And at the end of the day, fact is not fiction. Until next time. Peace.
There's a fantastic video. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I'll watch it. This is it.
I'm going to take you up to 120%. Copy that, sir. On my mark. Stand by. 3, 2, 1. Mark!
This is not a human. It's a robot.
What you doing? What you talking about, You raggedy bitch. Shit like that. Let's be but no. What it is you really do. Bullshit.